is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
NASCAR Nextel Cup is back on ABC. Tonight, a short track slugfest in the final race for the chase. Who gets in? Who will be left out? It's the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 at Richmond International Raceway.
They've survived dozens of grueling races, endured thousands of paint-swapping miles. Now, they face off in a final race to make the chase. Tonight under the lights in Virginia, the Raceway of Richmond, this beloved track of NASCAR, offers one last chance. The sun is setting and there's no time for blunder. The squeeze is on and the door is slamming in front of you. The proof is in the numbers and the math isn't adding up for Junior. It's going to take a stock car Hail Mary for number 8 to make the final cut. To lead the chase there, you need to take care of business here first. Jeff Gordon is racing for his 5th title. Breathing down his neck is Jimmy Johnson looking to double dip as NASCAR champion. Second place might as well be last, so it's time to lay it down. It's live. It's prime time. It's the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. This is your last chance.
Countdown is on. 8 drivers are locked into the postseason, and there's only room for 12. All Clint Boyer and Martin Truex Jr. have to do is take the green flag, and they're in, which means 3 drivers fighting for 2 spots. Kurt Busch will clinch a spot by finishing at least 36th. Kevin Harvick needs to finish 32nd or better. And then there's Dale Earnhardt Jr. with the Elvis paint job. He hasn't left the building yet. A long shot, but it can happen. And this is one of his best tracks. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the pit studio here in the infield at Richmond International Raceway. I'm Susie Culver, along with our former NASCAR team owner, Brad Daugherty, and Rusty Wallace, who's won here 6 times. This place is an absolute favorite for drivers. Why?
It's a 3/4-mile racetrack. It's really close quarters. This is true blue short track racing at its best right here. These folks can run right on the bottom of the track, the middle of the track, and on the top, and because of that, the drivers just love it.
Now, Brad, aside from the drama of getting into the chase, there are a number of guys who are locked in. Yeah. All they really want to do then is win and build those bonus points.
Well, yeah, you're exactly right. And in particular, you're talking about Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and Tony Stewart. These guys are all almost comparable in wins, with Jimmy Johnson having 5. They need to close that gap. I know Tony Stewart wants to badly because he doesn't want to give Jimmy Johnson a 20-point lead, and Jeff doesn't want to give him a 10-point lead going into the chase. So these guys have their race within a race.
And we'll explain those bonus points again in just a minute. But for now, all eyes on Dale Earnhardt Jr. There are a lot of scenarios, but we're going to try to keep it really simple. If Dale Jr. wins today and Kevin Harvick finishes 33rd or worse, Dale is in. A 34th place finish for Harvick, even if he leads a lap, would leave him 1 point shy of Jr. For Little E, the year has overflowed with drama, beginning with his stepmother, Teresa, questioning her stepson's commitment. In December, she said, Junior will have to decide if he wants to be a NASCAR driver or a public personality. Perhaps a prelude to the rocky season to come.
I can't afford to run anything less than 110%.
Harvick said that he considered Teresa a deadbeat owner.
Man, you're killing me.
Where will Dale Earnhardt Jr. be driving in 2008?
Boy, Junior's car is crunched. Trouble turn 3, big smokers, that Dale Jr.
That's the 8 car. I'd say that science project didn't work. He cannot stand much more of this right here. That's not what DEI needs.
What do you want to get out of it?
The ownership's a big part of it. I don't want to be appeased with a percentage of small equity and whatnot.
There was a 51% deal on the table. I asked him what the price tag was. He would not comment on that.
Kyle Busch just got into a junior.
There you see Kyle Busch going to the garage area.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car has been retired from the race. The 5 car is back on track. The driver is Dale Earnhardt Jr.
See, that's where Kyle was? He gone. He left, I think.
They have really opened a good line of communication between the junior side and the DEI side.
He told me that he feels very confident that something might be resolved as early as May.
We decide that it's time for us to move on and seek other opportunities to drive for a new team in 2008.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. announced he'd be leaving DEI.
He wanted 51% ownership. He couldn't obtain that, and he's looking for greener pastures.
He is so popular and he's so talented that he's going to land in a really good ride.
After having an illegal bolt in his wing, his team looking at a penalty for an infraction.
I think it's just an overexertion. They're trying to keep people out there not from cheating in the sport, and that's just their way of doing it.
Bobby Ginn's got the Hendrick motors that would be very attractive to Dale Jr.
I caught up with Rick Hendrick. He said he has no room for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
It is with great honor to introduce my new boss for 2008, Mr. Rick Hendrick. I just wanted to know what the deal was, and I would pick the best deal. I do want to win a championship. I want that trophy.
Earnhardt said today that the entire marriage between himself and Budweiser will come to an end.
Wow, how things can turn so quickly for 1 or 2 drivers, particularly this guy.
Decided to come down and make a shock change. The car was handling terrible. It's woke the car up.
What were your thoughts when you got the news that the 8 will no longer be with you?
My personal feelings are disappointment. I think it's about time we give Teresa a break. She makes the decision on that number because she owns it.
That 2-car and 8-car, they can't get away from each other.
These were the guys we were watching for that elusive 12th position.
We just need to run consistent and make sure that he sees us out on the racetrack.
Everybody wants to be in a chase, but somebody's got to be a loser. It is a bummer. You just kind of want to go under the radar when you can't get it done.
Joining me now is Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Jr., we just saw a piece documenting your season. How would you describe the way 2007 has unfolded?
That's pretty a boring piece, but it's been up and down. We've had fast cars every week. My team, they run a pretty good program, and my cars have driven great all year long. And we just haven't had the finishes that we should have. And we haven't been able to finish some races where we were running really, really good. But, so we got our work cut out for us tonight and trying to make the chase, but it ain't over, so we're going to keep trying. And even when it is over, we'll just try to spoil every week, try to win some races.
There's no question you've been pretty realistic about your chase chances. Pretty much the only chance you have is by winning this race. But to do that, you got to have a pretty good race car. How good is it?
You want me to be honest? I think that we haven't had a race running car all weekend, but Tony Jr. and me, we talked about where we think the car needs to be and how to get there. And we always sort of practice middle of the road, and we come out running great at the start of all these races. And we probably will again tonight. I feel very confident my car is going to be good, and I love racing at Richmond. It's one of my favorite tracks here in Atlanta. And they need to seal this place again. If I can give them one piece of advice, they need to start sealing it again so we can get the top groove coming back. It's not quite as good as it should be, but, we'll see.
Speaking of sealing things, Susie, Dale Jr.'s fate will be sealed in just about 4.5 hours.
And certainly nothing boring about his season, and certainly not tonight. Is it possible for him to get in?
Oh, it really is possible. He's going to have to win the race. Those guys are going to have some problems. And can they have problems? Yeah, the 29 car is going to have to blow an engine. The 2-car can blow an engine, or at least if they wreck, go out there wreck them so bad they can't get them back on the track. And that's happened before.
Even if you give him the 100 points back from the penalty early in the year, he's still outside the chase. So the bottom line is, in 25 races, he hasn't run well enough to be in the chase. My advice for all those junior fans, and there's a ton of them here, go out and start buying your merchandise for the 8 now. The season for the chase is over tonight.
And if he wins tonight, it will be his first win of the season. At least we do know now who will be driving that number 8 next year. Mark Martin and Eric Almirola will be sharing the ride. Martin will share it again in 2009. Martin understands some fans are disappointed, but says everyone should know how significant that number is to DEI. As drivers make their way to intros, we're fired up to talk to the boys on the bubble. Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick's team owner Richard Childress up next. And later, this rock and roll themed race plugs in the most popular band in the country. Daughtry headlined the pre-race concert, and we've got it for you.
NASCAR Countdown, brought to you by Chevy, an American Revolution.
In this, the fourth year of the chase, the top 12 drivers will run for the championship. With one race to go, there are 3 drivers battling for the final 2 spots. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in third team can make up as many as 161 points on Kevin Harvick or Kurt Busch with a perfect performance tonight, but he'd still need help in the form of costly mistakes from those two. Jamie Little with Kurt Busch.
Well, Kurt Busch is one of those 3 bubble boys, as we're referring to them tonight. But of the 3, Kurt Busch has really stepped up, winning 2 of the last 5 races. And Kurt, you've been in this position before with the pressure on you. You won the first chase. How will that experience help you here tonight?
Well, it's helped us the last few weeks. We had a bad month of May and looked at our point situation. We were pretty far behind, so we had some work to do. And since then, the consistency started to pour in. Pat Tryson, my new crew chief, he's really helped out a ton. So with the Miller Lite Dodge, we're sitting here in a pretty good spot. All we have to do is race 36th or better tonight, and I feel like we can race hard once we get in the chase. So it's tough. Racing for one night, we want to get those 10 extra bonus points, but we got to get locked in, and that's the most important part.
Now, how will your crew chief, Pat Tryson, and you approach tonight? I know you guys have different approaches to the races.
Yeah, I mean, there's the matter of getting in, and I think that's obviously going to play dividends over anything else. So whether we take 4 tires every time to stay consistent, to make sure we can pass cars, I think that'll be a smart call. So we're looking for a smooth, consistent race with the Miller Lite Dodge tonight.
All right, Kurt Busch making his 3rd chase and his first with Roger Penske.
Jamie, we asked to speak with Kevin Harvick before the start of the race, but Kevin declined our request for an interview, saying he wanted to focus on the event. His team owner, Richard Childress, is standing in for him. Richard, you and I were talking about approaches to the race. What have you talked with the 29 team about for tonight?
By the way, Alan, he didn't do it because of you. It was he's just focused on this race. Really, all we got to do is don't make any mistakes. Do everything like you did that got you in the position to be running to get in the chase. And we feel we got a car tonight that can win the race. We're not going to do nothing stupid, but if we win the race, he'll win it.
Richard, thank you for the time. Good luck tonight.
Thank you, Alan.
Kevin Harvick starts 13th tonight. That's his team owner, Richard Childress.
Kevin and Kurt can't afford any major mistakes. How tough is that on a track like this?
It's really tough here at Richmond because this is a short track, and it's a short track race, and you're going to bump and bang and get into things. And sometimes it's not your fault. Somebody else is going to spin out in front of you, maybe you blow a motor, you're going to slide in your oil. So it's pretty impossible to have a really clean race here.
Those things are going to happen. You just have to keep moving forward, stick with your game plan, don't alter it, and try to finish the race as clean as you possibly can.
And how about this for pressure? Not just getting into the chase. Once you're in, those 12 drivers have to pretty much be perfect for 10 straight weeks.
That's awesome.
That's why it's so much fun. We look forward to that starting next week on ABC. And Rusty, we know you have to get upstairs to call the race, and we'll look forward to that.
Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later on.
Counting down to race time, and Bobby Labonte starting his 500th Nextel Cup race. He'll be starting 10th. Another headline this week, Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart, and the entire Joe Gibbs Racing team making the move to Toyota, ending a 16-year relationship with GM. And teammates still battling for the top spot when the chase order is reset. We'll hear from Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon next.
Good job, buddy. Have a good one up there.
Rocks Richmond with the Chevy Rock and Roll 400, bringing rocket racing together. Chevy rocks at the pump too, with 8 models that get 30 miles per gallon or better on the highway. That's an American revolution. Central Virginia, aerial coverage of historic Richmond International Raceway, brought to you by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for the past 25 years. But right now, Richmond, a fan favorite of drivers, has been called the perfect racetrack, but it sure is tough on the brakes. For more, Tim Brewer joins us at the Chevy Cutaway Car in the Dish Tech Center.
Brakes are so important because without them, you can't win a race tonight. The weakest point in the system is the brake fluid. Therefore, we're going to induce all the airflow we can on the brakes to keep them as cool as possible, because you got this brake pad against this rotor creating a phenomenal amount of heat. What that's going to do is transfer over to the piston. Well, right behind the piston, that's where the fluid's located, and when you boil the fluid, the pedal's going to get really soft, the brake pedal's going to go away, it's going to fade, you have no brake. There went the chance of winning the race tonight.
Cutaway Car is brought to you by Chevy, the most wins in NASCAR history, an American revolution.
This telecast is available on ABC HD, presented by Texas Instruments. Seeding for the chase for the Nextel Cup is set by race wins. After tonight's race, the top 12 drivers will have his total points reset to 5,000 with an additional 10 points awarded for each win. Unless Jeff Gordon wins tonight, teammate Jimmy Johnson will be the top seed. He's the Bud Pole Award winner, and he's with Dave Burns.
And, of course, we want to get the thoughts from reigning Nextel Cup champ Jimmy Johnson, who comes into this race with not a lot at stake. Everybody else seems a little uptight, a little nervous. What's your mindset going into this race?
Well, 10 more points would be nice, but I'm really focused on putting in another good performance. I think that the rhythm the team has now going into the chase is important. We've done things right here the last few weeks, and we need to keep that going and keep this energy alive and this momentum that we have going. So it's going to be smart and smooth tonight. If I'm up there racing for the win at the end, I'll get aggressive, but to finish first you got to finish. So I'm going to keep that mindset tonight, and I get in a good solid night.
It's been a good run for him. Of course, the win last week, the win earlier this year here at Richmond, and for the first time in 55 races, a pole position. He will start first tonight.
Well, Jeff Gordon must win tonight in order to remain atop the point standings, a position that he's held since late March. How important is it to start this chase off in that top spot?
I mean, I don't think it's crucial. I'd like to. You know, we've led the season in the points for quite a while, and I think we're going to have a real strong chase. And I'm excited about tonight. I think we got a great race car. I feel like we've really got a shot at getting those 10 bonus points back. But you got all you can do is go out every weekend and push as hard as you can. That's what we're going to do tonight with the DuPont Nicorette Chevrolet, and see where we end up and where we start the chase, and then put 10 good ones together and see if those bonus points really made the difference or not.
All right, Jeff Gordon is a two-time winner here at Richmond, and he starts second tonight. Susie?
And countdown has reached race time. You'll hear from Brad and I during the race. 300 miles of short track racing ahead. Time now for opening ceremonies here at Richmond International Raceway.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Non-Commissioned Officers Academy from Fort Lee, Virginia presents our nation's colors. Followed by Colonel H.W. Stanley Jr., Henrico County Chief of Police, as he leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for which the republic we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now please remain standing as Reverend Joe Ellison offers tonight's invocation.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, we thank you tonight for Richmond International Raceway. We thank you for all the drivers and all the wonderful who helped plan this event. Lord, we ask you to protect each and every driver tonight. And Lord, we ask you to remember our brothers and sisters in Iraq and all the troops that they are serving our country in America. We thank you in the name of the Father, and in the Son, and in the Holy Ghost. Amen.
And now, please welcome Nashville recording artist and Chevy's own John Day as she performs tonight's national anthem.
Oh, son, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly strewn.
Racing in Richmond, drivers and their teams ready to go. It's the final race before the chase. Dr. Jerry Punch leads tonight's call. Doc?
Thank you very much, Susie. After 25 of 36 races, take a look at the point standings, and you can easily see that there's the Elite Eight. The top 8 are already in. They are locked in the chase. 9th and 10th, Clint Boyer and Martin Truex Jr. will be locked in when they roll off of the green flag tonight. Then there's the Bubble Boys, 11th, 12th, and 13th, Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. There is what they've got to do. A lot of nervous people down trackside because it's the last night for these guys to get in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Hello, everyone. Along with the champions, Rusty Wallace and Andy Petrie, I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us. And, guys, what's the Elvis song? It's now or never. This is basically one night, one race, one 400-lap short-track fight. And, Rusty, Dale Earnhardt Jr., for him, there really is no strategy.
Jerry, he has no strategy whatsoever. This guy's got to run every single lap wide open, take no prisoners, do everything he possibly can. In fact, run every lap like it's a qualifying lap and hope that nothing happens. He needs to win this race.
Andy, for the two guys he's chasing, if you're calling the shots for Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick, as a crew chief, how do you play it?
You got to play it safe. These guys would probably like to put a bubble around the race car so they don't get in trouble, but they have to play it safe. They can't go out there and go for the win just like these other guys with no pressure on them. So if they've been kind of waiting for that other shoe to drop, so tonight they're just holding their breath hoping they don't have a problem.
Busch and Harvick have to avoid contact. Earnhardt Jr. needs to rocket to the front and stay there and lead every lap, and even then, he's going to need to have a little help and a whole lot of luck.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Chevy, an American revolution. Sprint, featuring NASCAR Nextel Cup Series updates at sprint speed. Office Depot, the official office products partner of NASCAR. And Shell, made to move.
Back at Richmond, let's get this party started as we go trackside for the command.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the command. Please welcome your Grand Marshal, Dwayne Paddock, as he gives the most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Game, very low. Fire it up here. Hey, one thing, when you put these sides, like these headrest nets in, just bang the hell out of them with your hands 2 times and they loosen way up. And poor pal, you got a good race car, right? Finish it off. Nice and smooth, no friends. No friends at all. Drive that to the front. Take no prisoners, baby. Hope y'all are ready.
The engines have fired in 43 of NASCAR's finest. Now, what's about to happen? It's all about slipping, sliding, racing, and rubbing on a Saturday night short track NASCAR style. The Chevy Rock and Roll 400 is next.
Just trying to
Saddle up because we are set to rock and roll NASCAR style on a Saturday night here in Richmond, Virginia. Let's take a look at our starting grid where Jimmy Johnson leads a Hendrick Motorsports sweep of the top 3 starting spots. And while you watch to see where your favorite driver is starting, let's visit with our in-race reporter tonight. That'll be Jeff Burton driving the AT&T Chevrolet starting back in 11th position.
Jeff Burton, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
Rusty, I got you, bud.
Well, Jeff, you won here before, and this is one of your best tracks. Now that you're locked in the chase for the championship, hey, what's your strategy?
We're going to go try to win, obviously. We think the AT&T Chevrolet is pretty good. Just got to stay ahead of the racetrack as the thing rubbers up. We've got to keep making the right changes, and I got to keep giving the right information. But I feel pretty good about it. It'll be interesting to see where the groove moves up. Bush race, the groove didn't move at all, really. So I think with these cars, it's going to go way high, but it didn't last night.
But Jeff, you did a lot of practicing during the daytime. This is a night race. You think the car's going to move around a lot on you, change a lot?
Yeah, I mean, you know how this place is. It's just going to probably gain more grip. Probably track's going to get better, than it was yesterday. But it's going to get better for everybody. And as the grip level changes, that changes the balance some. So we just have to see what we got here to start making changes.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
Let's visit with the man who will call the shots for Jeff Burton tonight, crew chief Scott Miller.
Hey, Scott, Andy Petrie up here in the booth. You got a copy? Scott Miller, Andy Petrie up here. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, Andy, got you loud and clear.
Hey, Scott, not very often do you get a freebie race like this where you can do some different things. What do you think about on the pit box tonight? What are you going to do different that you wouldn't normally do?
Well, if anything comes up in the race, it might be some off-the-wall strategy or something that looks like it might be able to get us a win. I mean, I'm going to be a lot less reluctant to make a risky call at the end of this race than I would normally.
10-4, Scott. It's going to be interesting. Good luck to you and your team.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks for being with us.
We'll be following along with Jeff and Scott all night long. Now let's update some of the key stories we'll be following here tonight. First, here's Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, we're going to be talking a lot of eating as this chase nears. And, Jeff Gordon, he's been leading the regular series points since the 5th week. Well, that could all change here tonight. Once the 12 drivers are locked into this chase, all the points start over, and they're seeded based on wins in the regular season. For instance, Jimmy Johnson, he's 6th in the regular points right now, but because he has the most wins, 5 in the regular series, starting next weekend, he will be seeded first. Now, his teammate Jeff Gordon has 4 wins, so he's seeded 2nd currently, but if he wins here tonight, he could mix things up, and he could tie Jimmy for the #1 seed. Let's go to Dave Burns.
Well, Jamie, this race always has lots of appeal because something always happens at Richmond. In each of the 3 chase events so far, each of the 3 editions, someone has gotten bumped out. In the first year, it was Casey Kane who got bumped out when Jeremy Mayfield won the race. The next year, Jamie McMurray crashed early. Ryan Newman raced his way into the chase. And, of course, last year, Casey Kane ran well enough to bump Tony Stewart out of the chase for the Nextel Cup. Keep your eye on Kurt Busch and the 29 of Kevin Harvick. They're not in yet. They're not a lock. If you root for these guys, you better stay with them all night because they still need your help. Mike?
Well, Dave, during a press conference on Friday, Dale Earnhardt Jr. sounded as though he was giving a concession speech. He said, quote, he should have made the chase, and that he was disappointed that his team failed to realize its potential. The truth is, though, it's not over yet for Junior. Mathematically, he can gain as many as 161 points in a single race. To do that, though, he needs to be perfect while others falter. So what's the approach? He says he's going to race as hard as he can and leave the rest to chance. Tonight, he rolls off 21st, trying to erase a monumental 128-point deficit. Alan?
Well, Mike, one thing is certain tonight. Unless Dale Earnhardt Jr. falls out of this race, you can't count on anything until the last lap is run. Now, that's not hype. That's racing reality. Here's an example. If Kevin Harvick so much as gets a flat tire in the final 50 laps of this race, he could wind up finishing somewhere in the high 30s. And if Junior runs well, he could sneak in. They pay the points after the checkered flag waves. The fun is seeing what happens between now and then.
High-definition onboard cameras. You'll be riding along with the back. Look at the back of the pace car. There is Jimmy Johnson and teammate Jeff Gordon and all Hendrick front row as we are set for race number 26 here. 32nd consecutive sellout. Over 112,000 diehard NASCAR fans are here to watch Saturday night slugfest. Short track racing, who'll get in the chase? 3 drivers on the bubble, only 2 will make it. Who will be there? We're going to find out momentarily as Jimmy Johnson leads them down to the green flag at Richmond, Virginia. Contact in turn 3. Jimmy Johnson jams on the brakes, trying to stay on the inside. He'll lose a couple of spots. Jeff Gordon will lead the first lap as he sails by, and Johnson loses 3 positions.
That high groove at the preferred line right now, and you saw Jeff Gordon got a good run off of turn 2 to get past Jimmy Johnson as he entered turn 3. Last night's Busch race, this racetrack has got a lot of rubber on it, and it's ready for racing, so don't worry about using the high groove early.
Looked like that Jimmy Johnson had a little problem locking up the left front wheel, getting into the corner. These tires are not warmed up yet. Take a little while for these things to get, the tires get warmed and the brakes to get warmed up.
Well, right off the bat, when the tire pressures aren't up, guys, the brakes are going to lock up if you get in too deep on the left front. That's what's happened to Johnson.
Denny Hamlin on the inside with his teammate, 3-time Richmond winner Tony Stewart, following him right along. They try to move to the inside of Ryan Newman. That's for second position.
His teammate cars, 11 car Denny Hamlin, the 20 car Tony Stewart, have been really fast in practice here this week. Wouldn't surprise me a bit if these guys win this race. But Newman on the outside, he's been struggling just a little bit in practice.
Hanging pretty tough here on the outside of Tony Stewart. Like you said, that groove has not really come in yet up top, but he's doing a good job of hanging in there. Now he gets down to the bottom.
Well, the 5 car, Kyle Busch, he's always up in the high lane. He seems like he always finds it up there, and that's where he likes to run all the time, it seems like, guys.
Yeah, until we talk about it, and then he jumps to the bottom of it.
He heard you.
The 12 car. Looked like the 12 car got a little loose there, too.
Jimmy Johnson follows his teammate. The 5 car underneath the 12 car, or tries to anyway. By the way, Kyle Busch, who dominated the NASCAR Busch Series event here last night, leading 4 times for 227 laps. Hard to see a driver have as good a car as Kyle Busch had here in Busch competition last night.
And talk about good cars, it's really going to be a while before we figure out what happens, how everybody's cars are going to handle, because none of these cars have practiced at night yet. All the practice has been during the daylight, so the first pit stop's probably going to be pretty important.
More on Jimmy Johnson. Let's check in with Alan.
Not much on Jimmy on the radio in these opening laps, although we did just report to his crew chief Chad Canals that the front end grip, called the car tight. That means the front end is sliding a little more than he'd like it to be. But nothing urgent in Jimmy's voice. Fairly calm on the radio. It's early yet.
These guys, they're just going to have to find themselves around this track right now since the track conditions are so cool and so different. So 5 car doesn't need to get excited. Jimmy Johnson, the guys that are locked in, the guys that need to get in, they're probably going to race pretty doggone hard, and I expect that's going to happen probably about 20 laps when these tire pressures get up and they understand what this track's going to do now.
This race almost has like an all-star race feel to it, where you got a lot of guys. Oh, here we got a crash.
Trouble 66, Jeff Green involved. The 96 who saw Tony Raines slowing momentarily. Contact on the back of Jeff Green's Chevy. That will bring out caution for the first time and out here on lap number 8.
You just hate to see a problem early for these fellas. They've worked all week long trying to get these cars running. This is one big race, a lot of attention on it, and right away you're out of the race.
Tony Raines really needs to get something going here too. You're going to be looking for a ride next year. I'm sure he's wanting to audition for that here the last few races of the year.
Let's show you what happened here. Going into the corner, 96 is Raines, 66 is Green.
As we've talked about arrow loose a long time, and that's exactly what happened in the 96. He got alongside of Green in the 66 car, and the car just got loose. He slid up into the 66, lost his downforce.
Looked like Dale Jarrett in the 44 got a little bit of that too.
Let's watch this one more time. Really in their side. Just got loose before he got to him, and then lost it and went up into.
Now from Jeff Green's camera, looking back into the side.
And that's all it takes, just a little bit like that, guys, to lose rear traction like Tony Raines did getting in the corner. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is that it's early and the tires are cool. They're not up to pressure.
Caution number one of probably many here tonight at Richmond International Raceway. Kyle Busch, Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, and Jeff Gordon. Back at Richmond International Raceway. Pace car will pull away. Jeff Gordon will lead him on a turn 4 to the restart. Back to the green flag. Gordon, Hamlin, Stewart, Newman, and Kyle Busch. If you're wondering what happened with Jimmy Johnson on that first lap, we're being told that he complained during a moment ago that the front splitter of his car is actually hitting the racetrack, and he's been waiting for the tire pressures to come up, and that's got to be very disconcerting for a driver.
What that does, it unloads the front tires. When that splitter hits the ground, it takes the load off the front tires, and it doesn't allow him to turn when he turns the steering wheel, so that's definitely going to upset the car.
We'll tell you another fellow on the move right now, Jeff Burton, working the outside of the racetrack and outside of Carl Edwards. He's making some ground up there.
There's a 31 of Jeff Burton, and see who's coming with him? Kevin Harvick. In fact, Kevin Harvick is going to sail by him. Remember, Harvick has to finish 32nd or better, but he's not waiting on anybody.
Well, he can race around his teammate there with Jeff Burton, but I bet you don't see Kevin Harvick put his car in too many real tight spots tonight.
Now, Dale Earnhardt Jr., there's the 8 car, started back in 21st position. He's making his move slowly and surely. That's for 18th position. He's trying to go by Riggs and does so. Would take the 18th spot away. Currently back in 19th spot. Let's listen in.
I can get down in the corner real good. And the left front's chattering, center off. I don't really like left for air pressure changes, but just to try to get it to turn up off, I'd rather you try something else.
And Doc, the last time he was behind the wheel of the 8 car, they were 43rd quickest in practice. They were not happy with the car, the way it was handling it all. This is his first time behind the wheel, and as you can hear, things aren't going his way.
Well, they made some changes last night in their setup of their car. They talked again this morning about what they want to do, and it sounds like they've hit it pretty close. He likes how his car is, getting in the corner, and that push in front end, chattering he calls it, that'll work itself out on a couple pit stops.
Right side of your screen, the 99 you see there, that is 6th, 7th, and 8th, and Harvick in the 29 car in 8th position. You see him trying to make a move inside of the 5 car of Kyle Busch, who's still up high in the outside group.
Looked like he was scraping the wall down the straightaway, and he's still running up the racetrack in the corners, leaving that bottom open for Kevin Harvick.
You know, all year long he feels real comfortable on top of the racetrack, and he's got himself working that top lane in like you saw last night in the Busch race here at Richmond, and he just loves it up there. And you know, you're not going to get him trapped on the bottom, so he just went to the top, and he got a lot of momentum up there also.
Looks like Harvick's got a good car here early.
Ryan Newman trying to get back underneath the 11 car. Denny Hamlin, that's for 2nd position. These cars are about a 2nd behind the leader, Jeff Gordon. Allen.
Doc, Denny Hamlin in that 11 has extra motivation to win tonight's race. Denny is from Chesterfield, Virginia, just down the road from Richmond. He says it wasn't all that long ago. He was a spectator in the stands watching races here. He said every driver has a place that's more special to him than any other. For Tony Stewart, it's Indianapolis. For me, it's Richmond. He wants to win here badly tonight, especially being locked into the chase and having no points to worry about.
Talking about the Virginia boys, you remember you got the Burton boys. Here's Denny Hamlin, currently 3rd. Jeff Burton in 10th spot. Elliott Sadler, who's from Emporia, Virginia, in 12th position. Speaking of Elliott Sadler in the 19, that's him up high. The 17 of Kenseth and the 2 of Kurt Busch, as these cars are battling for a position in the top 10 and 12th position, 12th, 13th, and 14th.
You know, I was taking a look at Kurt Busch's car. The front end looks like it's rolling a lot on that car. More roll than you possibly need to be. And that front end roll is not what you really want. That's going to make the car real loose. So let's take a look at this. He's up underneath the 19 car Sadler. You see that air dam up, and that really kills him.
Caution on the racetrack for the 2nd time tonight. 15 car of Paul Menard has had his troubles, and he will bring out the yellow flag here on lap 23.
Car looks clean. Doesn't look like he's made any contact with anybody or the wall.
You take a look at that action. He just got in real deep in the middle of turn 3 and 4 and just got the thing loose again. I don't believe that the 49 car behind him or the 21er just went by, got in the back of him. It looked like he's got a clean rear bumper. Just another arrow loose situation getting into the corner.
We are at Richmond International Raceway, a sellout crowd of over 112,000. The Chevy Rock and Roll 400. It may be the last regular season race of the year because this is when the chase is decided. We're going to move into the 10-race chase for the Nextel Cup. Under caution, here they come down pit road for the first pit stop of the night to Dave Burns.
Carl Edwards will come in the 99 car, and they're going to make changes on that car. Carl's pretty happy with it, but one thing he's concerned about, brakes. They can't make changes right now. We'll see how that plays its way out. Jamie.
And Jeff Gordon in his pit box, he says he's tight when he picks up the throttle and loose off. They're going to take 4 tires, no adjustment. Skies for your leader. Alan?
Denny Hamlin's crew is going to take a little extra time on the right rear corner of the car to place a spring rubber inside one of the springs for a handling adjustment. That's why the rear tire changer's a little slow coming around the car. They will give up a little track position now to try and help the handling for the long run in the race.
Race off of pit road, first time of night as they come off. You see Ryan Newman gain the spot. Juan Pablo Montoya up 9 positions. Tony Stewart lost 6 spots. The 11 car lost 5. You heard they put that spring rubber in the right rear to make an adjustment. We are under caution here for the second time already tonight. The rear tire changer for Martin Truex, Coleman Dollarhide, getting it done. Back with more after these messages and a word from our ABC station. Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway. Just underway again on the green, and Casey Mears becomes the second Hendrick Motorsports driver to lead tonight after Jeff Gordon led the first 25 laps.
When Ryan Newman in the last pit stop, he took on 2 tires, so it's yet to be seen how that's going to work. We've been waiting for that one to happen for a while. A lot of teams want to see 2 or 4. What's going to work here tonight at Richmond?
One of the drivers we thought might be a factor tonight is in the garage area. Mike?
We certainly thought that Greg Biffle had a shot at contending for the win tonight, but that's not the case. Involved in the early incident, what exactly happened?
I really don't know. You know, it's unfortunate. When you start at the back, you qualify bad. You start in the back with all the donkeys, and they're for sure to cause a wreck in the first 10 laps of the race. That's why they're back there, and it's unfortunate. I know that maybe the car involved was the car that took us out last Richmond race. So I don't know. Unfortunate for us. We had a good race car, just qualified badly.
Looks like it took a pretty heavy hit in the right rear. How bad's the damage?
Well, it bent the axle housing, bent the rear truck arms, and the axle housing's bent. They can't get the axles out, so we're going to replace all the rear suspension from the middle of the car back because everything's bent.
The team's not giving up, though, Doc. They're going to work here on the 16 car, trying to get them back in the race before the end of the evening.
Thank you, Mike. They'll try to get that car back on the racetrack. There's Glenn Harvick. See him trying to make a move inside of David Gilliland. That is for the 5th position.
Well, Harvick needs to run a really good race. He's got to keep himself out of trouble. And sometimes it's just a lot easier to do that by staying up front. And that's what he's doing. You don't want to get in the problem that happened to Greg Biffle.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing a good job of staying out front. He's got a big gap on these guys. And he's not putting his car in any real tight spots. At the same time, he's running hard.
3 abreast, Denny Hamlin all the way on the inside of the racetrack. He's inside of Juan Pablo Montoya in the 42 car. We heard him say they put a spring rubber in the rear for Hamlin. What are they trying to correct there?
Well, right now, if they put a spring rubber in the right rear, they're trying to get the car to turn the front end better. Just get the front end to stick better.
Jimmy Johnson on the move. He was the pole sitter. Still has yet to lead a lap. He went into turn 3 and had the splitter bouncing off the racetrack, jammed on the brakes, and was passed by his teammate, Jeff Gordon, in the very first lap of the race. Johnson now moving back up to 3rd position. So it's Newman, Jeff Gordon, and Jimmy Johnson as you watch this battle back for 4th, and Harvick goes sailing by Casey Mears.
Well, yesterday in practice, Harvick had a really good car. That thing was working on the bottom of the track, in the middle, on the top. And talking to him, he was just really excited about how his car was running.
This is just one of those tracks that Kevin Harvick has always performed well at. Even with this new car, it seems like he's not lost a beat here. It's just a track he really loves.
Well, you've seen him have so much luck in the Busch Series here at Richmond, Virginia Raceway, and he just loves this track. And he's another guy that's not afraid to run that car dead up on top of the wall.
Harvick has won 4 times in a NASCAR Busch car. He won this race a year ago in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. Where is Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Well, after the pit stops, he finds himself in the back of the pack. Earnhardt Jr. now being shown in 20th position.
Let's take a look at this. It looks like he got in the pits a little sideways, had to stop. And he's not really in a position where he wants to be because the 10 car in front of him has got his rear of a car kind of hung out a little bit. When Dale gets ready to drop this jack, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for him to get out of there. He's got to stop and back up, and when he does that, that just really kills yourself.
From Jackman Brian Hootie Chase as they service the car. You see that Hootie's watching and he realizes they got to back the car up. And Earnhardt lost about 4 or 5 cars on pit road, went by him while he was trying to back up and get back around the 10 car of Scott Briggs. Jamie.
Just bad luck for that 8-Docket team. Worried about what happened, obviously, but they're trying to talk to each other, calm each other down, and say it's going to be a long race. Just keep your eyes on the plan, and their plan is to lead laps and win this race tonight.
Riding along with our Wrangler onboard telemetry, you can see what's going on there with Dale Earnhardt Jr. as he's trying to just sail back through the field and work some of this traffic.
Well, guys, right now he really can't give the car its full potential because he's locked up in the traffic. You'd see the RPMs higher getting down into turn 1 if he could not be in all that traffic.
Kevin Harvick, so much for trying to be ginger and tiptoe early on until some cars fall out. He is just, I don't know, if you were his crew chief, Andy, would you like this move? I mean, he's being as aggressive as I've seen him all year long.
I would like to see the car running fast like it is, but I haven't seen him put it in a position yet that scares me. In other words, putting it 3 wide or racing in some positions that would really scare me. I don't mind seeing him run fast. I just don't want to see him in any real tight spot.
Well, if the car will run fast by itself and he doesn't have to push it or overdrive the car to get it to go fast, that's 2 different things right there, guys. And right now, it looks like this car is running fast easy.
It gives him a lot of options when you got a fast car.
Kevin Harvick on his way to the front and maybe on his way to the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. Hamlin, Johnson, Harvick, Jeff Gordon, and of course, how about this guy trying to get in the chase? Back in a moment. Back at Richmond International Raceway, beautiful aerial shots from high above this sellout crowd, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Well, Monday Night Football kicks off at 7 o'clock Eastern time with a doubleheader. First, it's Chad Johnson and the Bengals looking to make a statement against the rough-and-tumble defense of the Baltimore Ravens. Then Heisman winner Matt Leinart and the Arizona Cardinals taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Are you ready for some football? Mike Tirico and company coming up on Monday night. Ryan Newman has now led 21 laps. Our early leader was Jeff Gordon. He led the first 25 laps, but there may be some issues brewing in the 24 car. Jamie?
Well, Doc, Jeff Gordon, when he came into his pit box, he was a little sluggish off, and he told his crew chief, Steve Letarte, why.
We can let him take 2. We're not going to mess with that. Not this early. I made that mistake in Michigan. That clutch is kind of funky on those takeoffs, so remind me to get plenty of revs on the takeoff.
Clutch problem on the racetrack, and what he's talking about as he gets ready to leave the pit area, if he doesn't slip the clutch enough and rev the motor up enough, it'll kill the engine. He's got to refire it and get gone again, and that really kills a lot of time.
And the other thing we heard him say, I think they were talking about maybe taking 2 tires, and they said they didn't want to do that either because they tried that at Michigan.
The good news for Jeff Gordon is he's locked in the chase. He's got 4 wins. He's going to be okay, but he wants to get this win because it's all about getting the top seed. And right now, his teammate Jimmy Johnson with 5 wins will have 10 more points when the chase really begins next week at New Hampshire.
I tell you, be in a great position to have 5 wins like Jimmy Johnson. Just be worried about it getting a little bit more rather than Dale Earnhardt Jr. back there trying to get in.
Not many races like this where you don't have really any pressure, you know, to just score points. You can go out there and just run the car hard. It's not like it's almost like an all-star race where you just go out there and just run for the win.
Right behind Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards, you see right there, he's about 1/10 of a second faster than anybody in the field right now. Fastest car in the field right now. Dave?
And he's feeling pretty good about that race car, too. They made just a slight air pressure adjustment on that race car on the first stop. And there doesn't appear to be a braking issue per se, but Carl felt like maybe he needed to conserve his brakes during this race. Of course, he's being reminded constantly by his crew it's a top of the show, and so Carl Edwards being gingerly tapping those brakes into the corner, trying not to overuse them.
Yeah, Dave, I've seen a lot of red rotors early in the race here, and that's what I kind of suspect these guys are talking about. We see it right there, that rotor glowing red. The crew chiefs can see this from the pit box, and I'm sure they're telling their drivers too, you know, just maybe take it easy on the brake pedal a little bit, maybe back off the gas just a little early.
This reminds me of the car tomorrow races we saw at Watkins Glen, where on the road course there was a ton of brake issues. And it's because this car doesn't have much downforce. They can't push on the pedal as hard as they want.
It doesn't have near the downforce of the old car, and it also has a higher center of gravity. That makes it roll a lot more, so you get you have some more issues with stopping the car.
For more on Blaze, let's go down to our Chevy cutaway car and Tim Brewer.
Hey, Jerry, the only thing we can do is basically manipulate the brake bias in the car. And how we're going to do that is we're going to get you a good reading on what we have right here illustrated. We're going to have 500 pounds on the front, about 350 in the rear. What we're going to do, we're going to manipulate the knob on the dash that we have right here. And then we're going to go back, take a reading again. We got up to 425 right there right now, and that's how we manipulate it in the pit area before the race. We register the knob, therefore when the crew chief hollers, you got too much brake in the front, we can transfer to the rear, therefore it's going to make the crew chief happier as well as the driver. Jerry?
Well, Tim, that explains how the drivers can adjust it, but what does that mean to the drivers as far as the crew chief is concerned?
Well, that's the only knob that we give the driver, the only adjustment he has inside the car. And we sometimes don't even trust him with that, but what he can do is he can change that balance a little bit, and it will change the way the car handles.
Scott Riggs in the caution being shown for the third time tonight. Scott Riggs in the 10 car has come into contact with the concrete on the outside here at Richmond.
Oh, blew a right front, guys.
That's not a good sign there. He said he blew a right front tire.
When you see that much damage on the right front, generally you just don't slide up into it and cause that much damage. So he must have really been getting after it when that tire blew, because that really tore the right front corner off that car. Brad?
Let's do this. Is really a tough run for Scott Riggs. I spoke with Ray Evernham, and he was talking about his race cars, and he just said, you know, we're so far off on the geometry of our cars in the front ends that we have to go back to basics. And all of these guys, including Scott, are going to run better as we go forward. So this is a tough evening for him, for Scott. He's had a tough year. These Evernham race cars are off a little bit. Let's go today.
And Carl Edwards makes a turn in, Brad. What they want to do is fix that car a little bit in the center. It was a little bit tight, a little bit loose off the corner. They're going to do that with an air pressure adjustment. Jamie.
Jeff Gordon coming in 4 tires again. He said that car is not responding late in the middle of the turn. It's not turning like he wants to. They're going to make a small adjustment. And let's go to Allen.
And Jimmy Johnson pits from 3rd position. You see the wrench just going in and out on the right rear corner of the car. A track bar adjustment to help the handling of this car. Looking for a little help in the center and off of the corners. 4 tire Johnson. And the car that runs second. That's 1 spot ahead of where he came in.
Here's the race off of pit road. Ryan Newman's minus a couple of spots. Kurt Busch up 3 positions. See Edwards lost. They made major adjustments. You heard a moment ago on his car, the 99 car. Dale Earnhardt Jr. up 3 positions, now into 10th position. Rusty, everyone's talking about tight in the middle and loose off, but that's Richmond.
I'll tell you, you lose the front end of the car at Richmond, meaning tight, that's going to slide the front end. But let's take a look at this replay right now. What actually happened? Oh, man, right front failure coming off the corner, and he was right coming off a turn 4 wide open. He got into it, and that just killed the car. You can see he lost the steering there.
His teammate right there, looks like he just about got caught up in it.
Rick Monroe and Rodney Weiss, the NASCAR flagman, had a bird's eye view of this impact here for Scott Riggs. Heavy impact. Now just nudges the inside wall with his Dodge. Back with a restart and the green flag in a moment. Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway. Time now to take a look at our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. Which driver will add a win to their win total tonight? Will it be Jimmy Johnson, B, Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, or Kurt Busch? Text the word crew to 191 on your wireless phone and send in your answer. The results will be shown later on in the race. You guys know who you'd vote for? Don't tell us yet. We'll wait.
That's a tough one, though. That's a tough one.
That is very tough.
That is the toughest all year.
Pretty good stories developing here in the top 10. The 8 of Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 70 car. What a great run by Johnny Saunders. Climbed all the way up to 11th position. And right in front of him, Dale Earnhardt Jr. These guys have sailed up through the field and now are being shown in 10th and 11th as we get set for the restart. For more on the 70, let's check in with Dave.
And Doc, they've done that with 4 tire stops and picking up spots on pit road. 2 on the first stop, 5 on this last stop. So the crew getting it done on pit road for Johnny Sauter. Sometimes it's a lot easier to earn those spots on pit road than trying to pass these guys on the track.
Well, guys, don't forget one thing now. Johnny Sauter, he's a short track ace. This guy's really good. This doesn't surprise me a bit.
Seems like this team's really taken to this new car, too. They've had some really good runs with this new car.
Johnny Sauter started back in 35th position, now being shown 11th. And of course, Earnhardt Jr. started 21st, is in 10th position. And the 6th car, they are taking him. That's David Reagan in the tail end along this line for 66 now, we are being told from NASCAR instead of the 6. That is Jeff Green. Tail end along this line with an issue with fueling on pit road. As he heads back down pit road, the pace car will turn left. And Jeff Gordon resumes the lead. He will lead him down to the green flag. It is Gordon, Johnson, and Ryan Newman, the top 3.
You know, you just wonder how fast his 12 car can be. He was out there before in 2 tires leading the race. 4 tires, he might really be flying.
You got Denny Hamlin now moving into the picture. This is one of his best racetracks, too.
Denny Hamlin, the Virginia native. They put that spring rubber in the right rear, and you heard Rusty Wallace tell you that's going to really help this car turn in the corner, and he's hanging right on the back of that 12 car of Ryan Newman.
And when he put the spring rubber in the back, he can't lose too much time doing that, and they didn't. And if you're going to make this change, guys, you need to make it early so you got time to race this thing and work on it later on.
The 66 car, Jeff Green, he came in for his penalty for improper fueling, then he was speeding on pit road, so now he has to make another pass-through penalty.
8 and the 29 running right together. Remember, these are the guys that are on the bubble, or 2 of them anyway. Harvick in the 29 and 12th, Earnhardt Jr. in 13th in the 8th car. He's going to try to hustle to the front. They are being shown in 9th and 10th, respectively.
It's a battle for 4th here. Kurt Busch underneath Denny Hamlin.
Now, Busch isn't locked in at all. He can't afford to have any problems. He get 2 races. He just needs to log these laps. Alan?
Hey, Rusty, just to follow up, we were talking about the 11 car, taking the time to make that adjustment early. It's helped. Denny says, much better. Mike?
Well, talking with Kurt Busch earlier this weekend, he says this really reminds him of 2004 when he came into the make-it-or-break-it race needing to finish only 40th or better. Tonight, the magic number 36. He says he knows he needs to be conservative, but can't wait for that moment later in the race when his crew chief comes over the radio and tells him that he is locked in, because when he hears that, he'll know it's time to go. Well, guys, if he's holding back, he's going to be awfully good when he does actually stand on it.
Well, we're watching the 12 car and the 2 car, and right now, just in my opinion, I don't like how that 2 car looks compared to his teammate, Ryan Newman. Newman's got a lot less body roll. The car looks better right now to me.
One thing I've seen with these guys, though, they're all trying to find a good balance for this new car, whether it be with springs or bump stops on the shock or maybe external bump stops. So some of them are trying a lot of different things. So you see some of the cars rolling more than others, and there's really no magic or set setup for these guys.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. left side of your screen just a moment ago. The 29 car of Harvick went by to take the 9th spot away, and here comes Clint Bowyer to take the 10th position away from Earnhardt Jr.
Junior's last lap is a 23.08 compared to Jeff Gordon's 22.68, so almost 0.3 of a second slower. You see him working a high lane, and I don't believe he wants to be up there right now. The car doesn't look good there.
Hey, I don't think he's driving the car up there. I think his car's just not handling it good enough to stay on the bottom.
Jamie McMurray, the 26 car, becoming a factor. Now he now catches this crowd and begins to move in and work over the rear of the 8 car. Jamie McMurray said this is one of the tracks that he's never really run that well on. He said this track in Chicagoland have always been somewhat of an enigma for him. He said, but I'm hoping I can change that here tonight. And obviously the car running pretty well as he makes a move on the inside, getting the car to turn well to take the spot away or try to take it away from the 8 car.
Well, take a look at the 70 car. He's really holding on strong. Johnny Sauter, no fluke here. He's looking great right now. The car's handling good on the bottom of the track.
Junior really struggled with his car, though, trying to keep it on the bottom. See, these guys are losing touch, these guys in front of them.
Well, one thing I'm noticing right now, the brake rotors, and a lot of these cars that aren't handling good are really starting to get red right now.
There's Harvick on the move again.
That's for 7th position. Kyle Busch still running up near Williamsburg, Virginia on the outside groove instead of Richmond. Everyone else went on the bottom of the racetrack, but it worked for him last night. So when he won the Busch race, and Harvick trying to make the inside move.
The cars just feel so much more comfortable on the top side of the racetrack than they do in the bottom, Jerry. They'll slide around when the track gets hot and gets slick, and that top groove is really working good.
Johnny Sauter all the way from 35th position, right there in the mix in the 70 car.
Well, he's one of the cars with the right front brake rotors really glowing hard in that car. If I was his pit crew, I'd be telling him, hey, Johnny, back off the brakes a little bit. You're going to kill him here, driving this torrid pace that he's running right now.
What do you feel as a driver when you know you're starting to have some brake issues? I mean, in the old days, you used to be able to smell it. Now drivers talk about just feeling it in the pedal.
Well, right now what happens, the brake pedal starts to get long. I mean, you push it, it goes longer to the floorboard. We call that getting soft.
Is it also, I've heard drivers say that it shakes some, too. You put your foot on the pedal and it shakes when they start getting hot.
The guy not having any problem whatsoever is Jeff Gordon. I mean, he's running some fast lap times, fastest in the field right now.
Jeff Gordon has a 0.6 of a second lead over his teammate Jimmy Johnson in second place. 83 of 400 laps are complete.
I'm Stan Barrett, and this is the SportsCenter Minute powered by Vizio. In college football, Michigan tried to bounce back from its upset loss to Appalachian State last week. Wolverines at home taking on Oregon, but they wound up with their worst home loss in 40 years as the Ducks win it 39-7 in Ann Arbor. NFL news, Michael Strahan will play for the Giants against Dallas on Sunday night. Strahan had considered retirement during training camp before rejoining the Giants. That's the SportsCenter Minute. Now back to Richmond for more of the Chevy Rock and Roll 400.
Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway and the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. 91 of 400 laps complete. 3 cautions, which is pretty typical for a Richmond race, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
2 storylines that are driving the action tonight. 10 drivers are locked into the chase for the Nextel Cup, which means 3 drivers are fighting for 2 spots, Brad.
It's really a daunting task, obviously, for Earnhardt Jr. It looks to me as if Kurt Busch and Kevin Hart are just trying to protect their positions, walk some laps, stay out of trouble. Earnhardt Jr. needs to come on. He needs to be charging every lap.
Harvick and Busch have been running in the top 10 most of the night. And then the other storyline, the drivers that are locked in, and really nothing but a win matters tonight.
Those guys, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, those guys are going for the victory tonight. Tony Stewart also moving up through the field in 8th place. And how about a good run for Johnny Sauter, back in 12th position right now, just moved to 11th.
Jeff Gordon, who is the leader, has 4 wins. He wants that top seed back again, and he has led the most laps tonight, but he's been battling it out with his teammate Jimmy Johnson.
They're trying to get these race cars figured out, but they're up front with their little bit of trouble that they're having. It's a good place to be. Once they figure it out, they could check out on everyone.
And Dale Earnhardt sitting there in 13th. 51 races without a win. This sure would be a good time.
Indeed it would, Susie. Earnhardt Jr. trying to hustle that car. The car not to his liking right now, but what's happening up front is that Jimmy Johnson is running down his teammate Jeff Gordon.
The 66 car is the one that crashed this party. He's 3 laps down, but he passed Jeff Gordon, went around him on the outside here, and I think it's kind of slowed Jeff up a little bit.
Well, it slowed him up at that last lap by. Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson are on identical speeds at 23.44. But the car in front has slowed Jeff down and lost his rhythm just a little bit.
Jeff Gordon trying to hold on. He's now led 55 laps. With more on Jeff, here's Jamie.
I was talking to Steve Leclerc, the crew chief for Jeff Gordon, earlier today, and I asked him about Jeff's car. He said this is the same one he ran here in the spring, but they decided to go over to their teammate Jimmy Johnson and get his setup, so the 2 cars are actually
was Jimmy Johnson who won the race and Jeff Gordon who finished fourth. Now the battle on the right side of your screen, that's the battle for fifth. Ryan Newman and Denny Hamlin.
Like, it just goes to show you how good track positioning. If you get out front in clean air like the 12 did with 2 tires, you can really set sail. But now he's back in the pack a little bit. Even though he's got 4 tires, he can't run as quick.
The other thing that happens on a short track when you get back in traffic is you have to use the brakes a lot more, too. Because you're around all these other cars, and you have to use the brakes sometimes where you don't want to.
Battle for 14th position, Casey Mears, and it was announced this week that Casey will drive the number 5 car next year for Hendrick Motorsports with Alan Gustafson as his crew chief. That's the car and the crew chief that Kyle Busch has this year. He is battling Matt Kenseth in the 17 car, and that is for the 14th position.
Take a look at Juan Pablo Montoya working the bottom of the track. We've been watching him throughout the race, and another guy's got a good-looking car, handling good, driving good and smart right now. It's too early in this race to get too excited.
Mike?
Well, guys, I was talking with his crew chief, Donnie Wingo, earlier today, and he told me that really Juan Pablo has made great strides since the beginning of the season, in particular in relation to the spring race here in Richmond. They really struggled. What he's gotten better with is being able to drive a very loose car. They needed to set it up loose to be good here, and he's been real happy with it. The other thing he's been good at is being able to determine what adjustments to make over the course of a long run and anticipating how the car will change. So far tonight, he's dictated a couple of the changes they've made on the 42 car.
Juan Pablo Montoya, the former Indy 500 winner, and we're being told that we'll have another Indy 500 winner coming next year. Jacques Villeneuve will be driving a Toyota for Bill Davis. And what about yesterday it was mentioned that Dario Franchitti could be coming here at the end of this year to run the NASCAR Busch Series and ARCA cars for Chip Ganassi and maybe run Cup in 2008 for Ganassi, just like what he's done with Juan Pablo Montoya.
Well, Dario Franchitti's one heck of a race car driver. I know Dario a little bit. He's a really great fellow, a lot of talent. And if he gets into NASCAR, trust me, he's going to do good in this sport. It might take him a little bit, but I expect him to do as good as Juan Pablo Montoya.
Seems like Montoya has opened the floodgates for these open-wheel guys to look at this sport and say, hey, this may be somewhere I want to go.
Speaking of Bill Davis, right behind this battle is the Bill Davis car, the 22 of Dave Blaney. Blaney, the former World of Outlaws champion. Here's the 5 car. That's actually sliding backwards a little bit. Kyle Busch car, the handle's starting to go away a little bit.
Well, I would venture to say in the last pit stop they made a change that didn't work. And so right now he's just holding on to the car. He's been one of the fastest cars. He's about a half a second off the pace right now, though.
See the position progression for Kyle Busch. You see, certainly, as you mentioned, Rusty, from 3rd on back through the field now, and he's still slipping back. He's now being shown back in 13th position. Dave?
And Doc, remember, Kyle's had a love-hate relationship with this new car of tomorrow. Won the first ever COT race. Tonight, it's going to be a different story. Listen to what he said on the radio.
God, I love this car. Oh, Canada. Sure, a lot of this has to do with my no turning left front because I locked it up, and now it's vibrating.
Vibrating left front, loose, tight, all over the place. Kyle says, you know what I think about these cars? They're a piece of, and then he actually said, you know what? He said they're a piece of, you know what? And he was very nice on the radio, but struggling tonight, as you guys saw, going backwards.
What he's talking about there, Dave, is he locked that left front up, and what it did is just put a flat spot right on that left front tire, makes it start vibrating, won't grip. He's going to have to live with that until they can get it in there and change tires.
But here's the good news for Kyle Busch. In 5 starts at Richmond, he has never finished worse than 5th, including 2nd the last 2 times he has been here. Jeff Gordon is our leader. He has led twice for 67 laps. It is Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, Carl Everett, and Denny Hamlin that are chasing Jeff Gordon. Can Jeff pull off his 5th win of the year? He's leading right now. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Can only make me stronger.
With just one race to decide the championship, it's a 3-way battle to the finish. Indy 500 champ Dario Franchitti takes on Scott Dixon and Tony Kanaan. They're all looking to win and take home the IndyCar Series title. It's the peak antifreeze IndyCar 300 presented by Mr. Clean at Chicago tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern time, right here on ABC. Lots of traffic up front for the lead car, Jeff Gordon. The 88 car being driven by Kenny Wallace, subbing for the injured Ricky Rudd.
And Kenny really wants to do a good job in this 88 car tonight. He says he's got a good car. Big race for him tonight. But Gordon right now is getting hung up behind both of them.
Yeah, Gordon's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here. He's got two lap cars that are racing. And you see this 88 car, Kenny Wallace. He's going to race as hard as he can not to go a lap down in case the caution comes out.
For you Ricky Rudd fans, he was injured with that driver's side impact at California last week. Separated his left shoulder. First injury he's ever had in a 900 career start for Ricky Rudd, having to sit out here the last race of his career in his home state here in Richmond, Virginia.
Well, right now, Jeff Gordon's getting held up a little bit. Looks like he just made it back by Kenny on that one, but probably getting a little agitated. But you know what? Kenny doesn't care whatsoever. He said, hey, man, you won a bunch of races. You're doing fine.
Yeah, but what if it was you, Rusty? You've led a lot of races here, and you come up on these guys. Do you get mad at them?
Oh, put a bumper to him, man. you hit him right in the rear and knock him sideways and pass him. That's what you got to do.
Hey, I remember that when you did that to some guy named Jeff Gordon going into one, and boy, that's about as mad as I've ever seen Gordon. He was mad as a hornet.
Well, that's a pretty good race, though, wasn't it? I thought it was.
Jimmy Johnson on the move. Now he's going to try to work his way by the 88 car.
Looks like Jimmy found a little something. He was struggling for a few laps, but then he must have changed his line a little bit. Now he's running Gordon down just a little bit.
Let's take you back to 2001. Talk about contact. There's our buddy Rusty Wallace. Hey, you're in my way, man. Oh, goodness, a little contact here. And here was a discussion.
Gotta love short track racing, don't you, Rusty?
That's what's so great about Richmond, guys. A lot of tempers, a lot of action. People love it. This place is packed here tonight. Standing room only.
That's why they've had 32 consecutive sellouts here at over 112,000 folks. They jammed their way in here to see exciting NASCAR on a short track Saturday night here in Virginia. Alan.
You know, Jerry, we've talked a lot tonight about adjustments that the pit crews make on these cars during a stop. Jimmy Johnson, who won the last race here in May, talked about how he has made an adjustment to his driving here. He said during that race weekend he learned how to drive the place. And I asked him before the race what he meant by that. He said he was attacking the corners too hard and abusing his equipment too much to the point that the crew was not able to help him with their adjustments later in the race. He said, I adjusted the way I did things. It helped them adjust the car, and we won. I hope I can remember how to do it tonight.
Well, it looks like he's doing a pretty good job right now. And Andy, one thing I've noticed, these guys are pretty inconsistent out there. We're watching the lap times. One time a fast lap, the next time a slow lap. They just can't seem to get these cars where they want them right yet.
This is the final race in the race to the chase, trying to get in the top 12 here. The 29 car, right side of your screen, that is Kevin Harvick, and he's being shown in the 10th position. He started 13th, now in 10th. He just has to finish 32nd or better to hold on to that 12th position and be the final driver in the chase. Now, what about Dale Earnhardt Jr.? He started back in 21st position. Here's Dale Jr. He is now being shown in 12th spot, just 2 spots behind Kevin Harvick. Jamie.
Well, he's done a heck of a job fighting his way forward, Doc, but he's still fighting an ill-handling race car, and this was on his radio just a few moments ago.
They're vibrating like hell. That was my problem at the start. The brakes started shaking like, hey, 10-4. The fans just cooled them down during that caution. We'll have to shut the fans off from now on and we'll get caution. So you'll be good.
And that's his crew chief, Tony Uri Jr., talking him through the problems. But Dale just came over the radio right when you guys were airing that, and he said that was a good lap. So they're staying optimistic, Doc.
What are they talking about? How you cool them down? What's it all about? Let's check in. We're going to show you exactly what he's referring to with our Chevy cutaway car and Tim Brewer.
Hey, thanks, Jerry. What you're going to have here, folks, you got this opening right here. That's going to conduct airflow back through the coolers. Now, we've got fans back here. This is a premier setup right here. There's nobody in NASCAR got anything any better. We've got Max Crawford's fans up here. We've got even fans down here in the lower portion. And it's going to conduct all this airflow right over here to the caliper in hopes of keeping the brake heat from the caliper. Because right here, folks, the fluid, when it boils in behind this piston, that's when Rusty alluded a while ago. He said, hey, the pedal's getting long. The reason it's getting long is boiling the fluid back in this area, and that's where the weakness in the brake system is here at Richmond, Virginia. Jerry?
Tim, that is a perfect explanation for exactly how all the cooling works. For more information on brake cooling, log on to ESPN.com. Search word Tech Center.
The one thing I heard Tony Jr. say, though, is that they're going to have him turn the fans off during the caution. What they don't want to do is have these rotors going through these big temperature swings. You can see them right here. The rotors are glowing real red. They're super hot. And then when the caution comes out, they keep the fan going. It'll just bring that rotor down too cool, and it may warp it a little bit. It causes that shaking that I think Junior's talking about.
Well, it's just like anything you're used to. If it's really, really hot, you put water on it or cool it real quick, it'll get brittle and break. And that's the same thing with a brake rotor. If you cool it too fast with those blowers, it's going to kill it. And it's actually going to not hurt it, but it could break it.
That's the last thing Junior needs right now is brake problems. But I think when I watch his car, well, I see a little temperature in the brakes that time, but some of them are really getting hot. Even Harvick's brakes were very hot.
130 laps, so 400 are complete. There is Jeff Gordon, the 24 car. He's the points leader and a 4-time winner this year. Jimmy Johnson in second spot. And we have caution, trouble on the track. Joe Nemechek has had hard impact with the right side of that 78 car.
It's the second right front tire we've seen down. That's what it looks like happened here. I don't know if it went down before or after he hit the wall. You see it is flat now.
As bad a break as this is for Joe Nemechek, it turned into a good break for Casey Kane, who was just about to be lapped by Jeff Gordon.
You could see he just absolutely lost the right front tire, went head on in the wall. Joe Nemechek's car. These car tomorrows, they are so tough. It's incredible. I mean, the cars look identical, but this front of these cars are so strong, folks. Before, you see the whole front end wiped off. Really bad. Now, that's hurt.
Yeah, that's a hard lick right there.
Not as bad as the old car would be, though, Andy. These things are strong.
Nemechek will head to the garage area. The free pass goes to the 88 car. And that is Kenny Wallace. He will be able to get back on the lead lap. They have not been on pit road for quite a while. Last pit stops for lap 64. They should all be coming in. And indeed, here they come. Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards, and the whole field. Let's head down toward you, Dave.
Carl Edwards says his car is barely tight in the center, a little loose in and off. They'll leave the air pressures where they are, go to a chassis adjustment. He picked up 4 positions on that last run. Mike.
And speaking of gainers, Kurt Busch picked up 3 positions on his last pit stop, complaining the car's a little bit loose. They'll take out 1 round on the track bar. Jamie?
And Jeff Gordon continues to dominate this race. Last time he came in, they made a wedge adjustment, 1.5 on that left rear. They're going to do the same thing. He said it helped him turn better in the middle. Let's go to Allen.
And Jimmy Johnson still looking for more front-end grip in this car. Air pressure and wedge and track bar adjustments. See if it comes off pit road second. He came down second. And indeed he will.
There's a scramble off of pit road, and Denny Hamlin gains a spot. Tony Stewart loses 3 positions. Kevin Harvick now gains a spot all the way up into the top 10. You see the losers and the gainers. Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson didn't lose a thing, despite the fact that Jimmy Johnson wanted all those adjustments made to try to get some more front grip on the car. Here's the race off of pit road. There goes Gordon, and Jimmy Johnson 1-2 with Denny Hamlin sailing by as well. Crew camera on the 1-car front tire changer, Dave Collins, trying to get it done for Martin Truex Jr. here under the caution. 4-tire change. Here's the 8-car for Earnhardt. Here's Jackman, Brian Hootie Chase. Hustling around Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car. Back with the green in just a moment. Welcome back to Richmond, Virginia, Richmond National Raceway, the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. And Jeff Gordon Chevy is rocking and rolling up at the front. It is Gordon, Johnson, Hamlin, 3 consecutive Chevys. Then the Ford of Carl Edwards in 4th spot, and the Dodge of Kurt Busch in 5th.
Jeff jumped out to a big lead right here on Jimmy Johnson. Right on that restart, he just took off and put about 5 or 6 car lengths on this guy.
Let's take a look at Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s restart here a moment ago, and there's some contact as he gets down in the corner.
He kind of forced 3 wide in there. You saw the 19 car was going for it. Got in the 22 car a little bit, moved him out of the way, kept going.
I don't think Dave Blaney knew he was there in that 22 car. You can see he kind of snuck in there.
have been big right there. I mean, Blaney did a good job holding on to that thing.
Earnhardt Jr. inside the 29 car that is for position on the racetrack. That's for 10th spot.
Well, Junior's got to do this, guys. He's got to run the race of his life. Not be careful, all just go for it.
Harvick needs to give him plenty of room right here.
This reminds me a bit of Pocono when Earnhardt Jr.'s car was just awful at the beginning of the race. They kept working on it and working on it. And finally, in the last 100 laps, that car set sail, and he went all the way up to finish second.
It just shows you how hard these guys are racing. I mean, they're doing everything they can in the pits, only stop changing the car, and Junior's driving his heart out, trying to make this chase.
More on Dale Earnhardt. Jamie?
Well, Dale Jr.'s doing his job on the track, guys, but that last stop, 18 seconds. One of the crew guys got hung up. Dale Jr. very irritated, to say the least. He's driving like a man possessed. He's already gained about 5 spots since that restart. Let's go over to Brad Daugherty.
Thanks, Jamie. Andy Petrie made a great comment a second ago. As I talked to Tony Uri Jr., he talked about how hard Earnhardt Jr. has been driving this race car, and he wanted to reiterate the fact. He said, Brad, we may not be in the chase, but we are a proud race team, and we're going to go out and we're going to participate to the end of the season, try to win as many laps and as many races as we possibly can. And I want everyone out there to know that we never did give up this season, no matter what the outcome. That's from Tony Uri Jr., his crew chief.
And Brad, he said this week to the people at home, he said, for all you fans and all my sponsors, said, don't give up on us. We're not going to give up. We're not going to quit until that checkered flag waves. We're going to be a part of this race to the chase. A little bit of smoke out of the 6th car of David Reagan.
See some damage on the left front there where he's had some contact with somebody.
Now, the problem he's got right now, the left front fender is bent down on the top of the left front tire. He's got to be careful with that. We saw a lot of blowed out tires when this problem happened. Was last week Michael Waltrip. Same type of situation here.
Had a little contact with the 25 car, Casey Mears.
See Casey Mears in the 6th car, David Reagan racing. It's like Casey's going to come up the track a little bit. And they touch right there, and that just bends the left front fender down on David Reagan's car. And that is tough for him because those fenders don't have a lot of clearance.
Yeah, Reagan didn't have anywhere to go there. He was up against the wall, actually touched the wall on the right side also.
41 car, Reed Sorensen is in front of him. There's a 21 of Bill Elliott. Casey Mears now has moved by in the 25 car. That is 20th, 21st, and 22nd. We were talking about what a great run the 70 car had early on. Johnny Sauter all the way from 35th starting spot into the top 10. But they had their troubles, Dave, in the pits.
Yeah, but they can go south in such a hurry on pit lane. What happened was the left rear was just a little bit slow, and Johnny, anxious to get away, keep this potential top 10 run going, gassed it just a little early. It rolled off the jack. So they had to jack the car back up, make sure all the lug nuts were on correctly on the left side before he could leave pit road, and they restarted 30th.
Another car that's had some issues, the 31 of Jeff Burton, who was very good early on and then started backsliding through the field.
Yeah, he didn't have any trouble on pit road, but his car's just not been very fast tonight. That's kind of surprising to me.
Alan?
Hey, Jeff Burton's problem, no rear grip. He says he can't get the back end of the car to hook up into the racetrack. And since those are the drive wheels on these rear-wheel drive cars, that can kind of be a problem, huh?
That can definitely be a problem, and that looks like he's fighting it pretty good here.
Jeff Burton is always good at this racetrack. There he is. Right behind him is Bobby Labonte, who's making a 500th career start here tonight. The 24 car, different color scheme, same results. Jeff Gordon at the head of the pack here has now led 110 of the 151 laps thus far here tonight.
We're at Chicagoland Speedway for the finale of the IndyCar Series. That's the trophy that everybody would be loving to hold at the end of the race. It'll be 2 drivers that'll decide it. 3 points separate the 03 champion Scott Dixon, who's chasing Indy 500 winner Dario Franchitti, and he'll be chasing Franchitti from the drop of the green flag. Dario will start on pole. Dixon will start 6th. And also there's the news. Could Dario be going over to NASCAR next year? We'll have it all for you Sunday at 4 Eastern on ABC.
Welcome back to the Chevy Rock Rock and Roll 400 short track racing on a Saturday night. The final race in the chase for the Nextel Cup. The McDonald's race rundown tells the story. Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the outside looking in has to have a perfect race tonight. Not a perfect pit to start.
Had a tough time, got pinned on pit road, and got him off to a real slow start. It's just a struggle because there's so much emphasis on him doing well tonight.
The guys on the bubble, Kevin Harvick has to finish 32nd or better, getting the job done here on Junior.
I like what Kevin Harvick's done tonight. He's been very conservative, very clean race car, running good solid lines, staying out of the way.
And Junior complaining about his car throughout the evening, getting passed by Clint Boyer, who now is locked in.
Once again, focusing on the Junior tonight's been tough. He's running well, but just not well enough.
Oh, but he was not giving up as Junior passes Kevin Harvick as the pressure is on.
He's drove a stake in the ground. He's going to try like heck and see what comes of it before the night's end.
Yeah, the number 8 team just fighting their hearts out, Jamie.
Well, Susie, he's driving like a man on a mission. He's up to 10th right now, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. not comfortable inside the car.
What is going on? What the hell? I don't want to drive his car anymore the rest of the year if I can. All right. Like the seat, it hurts my back real bad.
That's just like his dad to me. Sounds like Dale Sr. Seat hurts, so he wants to throw the whole car away.
Yeah, he says the seat's hurting him. I don't want to drive this car no more. I'm done with this thing.
I don't know how many times I dealt with that with Senior.
Oh, can't you just change the seat in the car?
Well, that's what I said. He just wants to throw the whole car away.
Just throw it away. For more information on team communications, log on to ESPN.com. Search word communications. Are there problems developing with Carl Edwards' car? Dave?
He radioed in, guys, I think it's blowing up. He said, okay, I'll start switching things, switching to the A and B ignition box. He switched distributor as well and then went for a battery switch and said, guys, where is that? I can't find it. They instructed him next to the seat. He's worked on that now. He says it's running like it's vapor locked, but look at him. He's took over the lead. He said, guys, at least maybe I'll try to pass the lead before it gives out. But he's trying to switch everything. He really thinks he's got a problem.
Looks like it's running fine to me, Dave. Maybe he switched something and got it to running better. Whatever switch he hit, he needs to stay with it. He's passing Jeff Gordon right now for the lead.
Yeah, if he hits it again, he might pass him.
Maybe that was the afterburner he hit when he flipped the switch.
He found the right one.
Last lap by Edwards running 23.19 to Gordon's 23.30, 0.2 of a second faster. Getting ready to make the pass right now on the inside.
I guess Carl Edwards says if I'm going to blow up, I might as well be leading this thing when I blow. He goes on the inside.
They used to say that they always run their very best right before they blow up. I believe Carl Edwards would be worried about it.
Yeah, do you have any more good news for Carl Edwards? Well, he indeed is doing that. Look at Carl Edwards' last lap, 115.37, and it's pretty evident on the racetrack as he goes sailing by and takes the lead for the first time tonight. Dave?
And he just radioed into his crew, guys, it's still running like there's a plug wire off. So it's a feeling that is not good, not comfortable with him. He did find the battery switch and switched that as well, but he still thinks he has a problem trying to ride it out to the next caution, ride it out in the lead.
Yeah, he's not having trouble riding this out.
Well, the car looks real good, but if he does have a problem, the engine's starting to miss. The car can stay running pretty good speeds because these tires have fell off so bad right now. Believe it or not, it's all about handling now instead of straightaway speed.
He's running the fastest laps on this board right now, though. If I'm his crew chief, I'm just telling him, hey, man, just stay with it.
Let's explain what we're talking about. So go down to our ESPN Dish Tech Center in Tim Brewer.
Hey, Jerry, what he's talking about when he's changing the ignition system, we got a switch over here on the dash. He's got a primary switch, he's got a backup switch. But there again, what he's changing, folks, he's changing the ignition box over there to my far right. He's changing the coil. He's changing it to the secondary system. That's what he's changing. As far as the battery switch is concerned, it's a switch that we mount right over here in the side of the car, and you can come over here, you can select one battery or the second battery or the off indicator. But what he's got a problem with, the thing was turning 9,000 RPM a while ago. It looked like it's pretty good on the screen to me. Anyway, back up to the booth.
That's a great explanation, it really is, because a lot of these cars have secondary systems for the ignition systems, but a lot of them only have one battery. And Carl Edwards' car evidently has two. That's a pretty good thing. And why don't you always run two? More weight.
Looks like he's got an afterburner, too. So since he flipped that switch, and he really has been running a lot faster.
I'd stay on that battery file. For more information on ignition and batteries, log on to ESPN.com. Search word Autotech. 70 car, Johnny Sauter back on the move. Johnny Sauter in the 70. Now, his best finishes of the year have come in 2 car of tomorrow races, 9th at Phoenix and 14th at Loudon. And obviously, he's having a great run here tonight. He came from 35th early on, all the way to 9th position in the first 70 laps. Carl Edwards, who won at Bristol, Tennessee, and he backed it up with an impressive performance in California, where he finished second a week ago, and he is back up front. Edwards has led now 33 consecutive laps.
Wednesday, even the biggest NASCAR superstars have to start somewhere. Wednesday, from humble beginnings to spectacular endings, see what it really takes to run with the big dogs. NASCAR in primetime, Wednesday at 10.
What a great series. The first time NASCAR has ever let a news organization behind the scenes, uncensored access, and where these drivers came from to where they are today from humble beginnings. Speaking about humble beginnings, whoa, and he said that he had a problem with the engine, and now smoke billowing out of the 99 car. Our leader, Carl Edwards.
That's all you can do, son. You did a hell of a job. Damn, it's fun, man. Damn.
Well, we got to hand it to Carl. He knew something was going wrong with that engine.
And you called it. He said it always runs better right before it blows. And, boy, it was sailing by. He took the lead and was just running up front. And you could tell how much fun he was having. There's Bob Osborne, the crew chief.
Yeah, we heard him talking about the motor was surging. It probably broke a valve spring. And then after you do that, it's just a matter of time before you have a failure inside the engine. This destroys itself.
He did a great job holding on that car. It was dead sideways, and it finally caught, and he got it off the track. That thing could have went backwards up against the wall, and he held on to that one. That's the only good thing about this.
Watch the back of this car as he's going underneath the 31 of Jeff Burton.
You see it start smoking just a little bit here. You can see it's losing power. And right here, it just lets go.
Mike?
And Clint Boyer been complaining that the car's a little bit loose under braking and that he needs a little bit more forward bite. A 4-tire change on the 07 car, but no other significant adjustments so far on the Jack Daniels car. Jamie.
Jeff Gordon again needs more help turning in the middle. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment that they forgot last time. It's 4 tires and he's away. Alan?
Jimmy Johnson had just passed Jeff Gordon for second. Then Carl Edwards went out. Let's see if Johnson... Well, they got trouble. Trouble on the left rear for Johnson's car, and that's going to cost him that lead. He just took over.
Frustration there in the Jimmy Johnson pit. Here's Denny Hamlin after he's had service on his Chevrolet for Joe Gibbs. 48 car, and that can be very frustrating. You know you got a great crew, but sometimes things just happen, Andy.
And sometimes in the middle of the race is not a big deal. You want to rally your guys right here and just say, hey, let's get it together. We've got a few more stops here. We'll get it back. No big deal.
Let's go down to the Dish Tech Center where I think Tim Brewer can help explain what's going on with Carl Edwards.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Hey, what they were alluding to a while ago was plug wires. I don't think that materialized what we were thinking about there. Let's go over here to the touch screen. What we're going to show you folks, we think it's an upper valve-related problem. Maybe where a valve spring broke up in this area right here. As you've seen before, this situation doesn't get any better. You're going to come up here, and the valve's going to set down. It's going to get bent. Therefore, what's going to happen next? The valve goes down, going to go through the piston more than likely. Therefore, you got total devastation. That's what happened to Carl Edwards' engine just a moment ago. Jerry?
What a great explanation, Tim, of exactly what happens internal to an engine. For more information on valve springs, log on to ESPN.com, search word know-how. Carl Edwards leading the race has an engine come apart in the 99 car. Smoke billowing from the back of his car. And after a win and a second-place finish in the last 2 races, he heads to the garage area as an early DNF here tonight. Welcome back to the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Aerial coverage from high above a sold-out Richmond International Raceway, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Let's go to the garage area where Dave is caught up with Carl Edwards.
And he's had a chance now to talk to car owner Jack Roush and a couple of the guys who work on the motors here. What's the assessment, Carl, on that car?
They verified my first assumption that it was something extremely important in the engine, like Schrader says, when they blow up. I can't thank everyone at Office Depot enough, my fans, everybody at Coca-Cola, Back 40 Records, especially the engineering crew and all the guys. This thing was awesome. I mean, the car was so fast, and just, I guess if we have to blow up, now's the time. I just hope one of our teammates wins.
Now, did you have some sort of indication that this weekend, because there wasn't a lot on the line, they might try to stretch it a little bit on the power?
Mike Messick and and Doug Yates told me that wasn't the case. They didn't try anything new. So just deep down frustrated. I'm not part of that noise out there right now. I was having a blast.
Yeah, they have a chance the next 10 races. He's in the chase and have a chance to show him once again. As they said on the radio, they knew we were here.
Absolutely. Whoa, 3 wide all the way at the bottom of the racetrack. These guys spreading out, trying to hustle on a great Saturday night short track here in Richmond, Virginia. 84 car, A.J. Allmendinger. He still makes it 3 wide. Looking to the inside of the 45 of Kyle Petty.
Guys feel really racy. He's bumping Kyle Petty hard right here off the corner. The brakes get cooled down, good tires. This guy's trying to get all they can get here.
AJ just needs to calm down just a little bit right now. He got in a big wreck yesterday in a bush race. By getting aero loose, you just got to slow down a bit right now. And
29 car does not want to be around these guys. Although he's in front of these guys, he doesn't want to be around to have something happen and then have him get swept up into it. But suddenly his night, his whole year would change.
He's trying to drive away from the scene here. Kyle Petty not happy here. He's losing a lot of spots.
16 car, by the way, you saw a moment ago, Greg Biffle is back on the racetrack. He's 114 laps down. Now watch Kyle Petty, the 45. He's sending a little bit of a message here, I think.
Yeah, Kyle's like, quit messing with me now. I just want to get one last jab before you took off. That was a little bit of a bump draft looking thing, but that was a payback bump draft right there.
Denny Hamlin got the lead off the pit road by a good pit stop, but he's got Jeff Gordon breathing down his neck.
There have been 7 lead changes among 6 drivers. Denny Hamlin, the latest one in front, but Jeff Gordon, he wants it back.
Yeah, Jeff's car's been dominant throughout the night, right behind Carl Edwards' car. And I expect him to get up on the inside of Denny here. But that outside lane, that is one of the best lanes out there. We talked about it all night long. Take a look at the 12 car, Ryan Newman. He's got a strong car throughout the night. Jimmy Johnson up there in front of him. And Tony Stewart's sticking in the picture right now.
Yeah, the 83 car, Brian Vickers, is a lap down. He's being shown in the 31st position, but they are battling for position there. Johnson, Newman, and Stewart, that's 4th, 5th, and 6th.
It's just a matter of time before you see that 20 car up in front.
Jeff Gordon trying to look inside of the 11 car, and right behind Gordon is the 07. A lot of guys in the garage area today said that Clint Boyer in the 07 could be a car to watch. It's been sort of flying under the radar here for the last few weeks.
He's the only one of these top 12 guys that doesn't have a win yet, so he's looking to get, he at least wants to get one win getting into this chase. And this is a great track for him to do it.
Well, it's a great time to do it right now, too, because he's already locked in the chase. He's running 3rd. He doesn't have to do anything except just drive hard if he wants, and this is a great car for him tonight. He can win this race, guys.
Tony Stewart, the 3-time Richmond winner, up in front of the 12 car. That would be for the 5th spot.
You know, I watch these lap times in these cars from up here in our television booth, and the times are almost identical for the first 10 cars. These Car Tomorrow cars are so equal, it's incredible.
It's a great shot right here. You see how close these guys run at 120, 30 miles an hour.
You know, one thing I need to bring up, too, the tire that they're running right here at this track is going to be the same exact tire next week at Loudon, New Hampshire, and the setups are very close also. So whoever runs good here, you can pretty well feel like they're going to run good at Loudon. I'm thinking about Carl Edwards right now, how good he's been running.
Danny Hamlin trying to hold on to that lead. Now the 07. Boyer has gone around the 24 car for 2nd spot. Whoa, a little bit of contact there, just a hint of a nudge. As we are 1 lap away from halfway. And Clint Boyer says, I want to be the 7th driver to lead it here tonight. He's got to move on the inside, and no.
These guys are driving like they have nothing to lose. I guess maybe it's because they don't have anything to lose.
Well, Clint Boyer doesn't have anything to lose. He doesn't have anything to lose because he's locked in the chase for the championship, and all he wants to do is win. So this, hey, go up there and win, man. Get aggressive, but he got a little aggressive.
That's plenty aggressive.
Whoa, hang on. And he just lost it in the corner, but he was going for it, trying to get inside. Oh, Denny Hamlin's crew chief. There's the crew down there for Clint Boyer's bunch. They had just taken the cross flags for halfway, and Boyer was going for the lead.
They were driving like it was a white flag out instead of the cross flags. Like I said earlier, this race seems to have that all-star race feel to it where these guys are just driving with, almost reckless abandon.
We watched last night in the Busch race, everybody getting arrow loose. And tonight with this car tomorrow, it's happening again. But if it's going to happen, it's going to happen with these cars because they just don't have as much downforce as the cars last night.
You really got to admire the aggressiveness of Clint Boyer. He was going after it. He said, enough's enough. I'm tired of being told I'm the only guy in the chase that hasn't won a race, and I need to fix that.
He's not finished yet either. His car doesn't have any damage.
So he got down in there, he picked the throttle up real hard, got up alongside him, and lost that air. Lost a little bit of position right there, got a little loose, then tried it again, got down in there again. This time he went for it and lost it, got in the corner too deep. That's just flat being too aggressive, but he saw that hole open up and went for it.
All these guys doing a great job to miss him here. See him going high and low.
He's almost there. Trying to get in the corner there. Look at Jeff Gordon right behind him watching this happen. Had the best seat in the house.
Wow, that's great racing right there.
Well, what's really great is he kept it off the wall, didn't tear it up. He's got another shot at it again now. Put 4 new tires and try this again.
Still there.
But he's going to have to come to the back of the pack now.
Clear all around. Yeah, dummy.
Jeff Gordon had a good seat for this.
Well, Hamlin did a nice job to save his car, too. He got bumped a second time, and it got a little bit out of shape.
Take a look at his downforce right now. The yellow air is a dirty air, and he went in alongside of him, and the yellow air, which is just can't get to the rear spoiler. When it can't get to the rear spoiler wing on these cars, you lose the downforce. Great explanation from Draft Track there, showing how the airflow comes around.
Yeah, there's Clint Boyer's crew said, what happened, guys? What happened? We were going for the lead. Back at Richmond International Raceway, there's the top 13 in the points, and exactly you see the bubble boys down there. That's Harvick. You see he was a bubble boy, Kurt Busch. Dale Earnhardt Jr. They are currently being shown running in 7th. Earnhardt Jr. is 7th. Harvick is 8th. And Kurt Busch is back in 11th position. Only 2 of those 3 are going to make it in the chase here as we head back to the green flag, and Jeff Gordon leads them into turn 1.
Gordon has cleared the lap car, Greg Biffle right now. Getting in that clean air, what he's got to do to get that car handling good, he's just done that. Good run for him right now. Biffle's so many laps down, I'm surprised that he's really getting so aggressive on the bottom of the track right now with the leader.
Car, Juan Pablo Montoya, not exactly paid back there in the 7 car. A little bit of impatience there with Robbie Gordon and Juan Pablo.
That's one thing you don't do with Robbie Gordon. He gets really upset when anybody beats him up a little bit. And the 42 car was really being pretty aggressive with Robbie. And really got to him and gave him a shot in the back end to let him know he didn't like it.
Here's what the 42 did to the 7 now in the corner. Now watch the contact there.
Just down there roughing him up a little bit, getting him sideways. Robbie probably thinks there's no need for that right now.
Yeah, you don't want to tug on Robbie's cape too much there. Superman will get you back there. There he is.
Yeah, Robbie's had enough bad luck right now that he doesn't want to mess with that.
Do you feel like you got to pay somebody back like right now when that happens?
Hey, if you don't do it right now, you know, you're not going to probably catch him at different points. If you can get him right now and let him know, dude, I don't like it, I'm not going to put up with you. You do it right then, make your point.
Plus, I know you, that's instant gratification. Being able to get him back here. Good battle on the racetrack. 48 car. Jimmy Johnson in 4th spot, the 20th Tony Stewart now has gone by the 3rd. There's Tony Stewart, left side of your screen. Gordon goes by, Hamlin goes by. We told you earlier that the 48 car had a problem on a pit stop. Very unlike this team, the Chad Knaus led team out, they have problems in the pits.
Yeah, but it does happen every now and then on pit road. And let's show you, watch the left rear. They have 5 lug nuts they have to hit and get them all on the car, and one popped off. Those lug nuts are pre-glued onto the tire. When they put the wheel on, the studs knocked one of them off. And Chad Knaus going down there talking to the guys on the crew saying, hey, it's okay, pump them back up just like a coach would in a football game tomorrow. Got to keep your guys up. They got to do it again here probably very soon.
That was Ron Malik, the acting crew chief, when Chad Knaus was suspended. He's the tire carrier there on the rear, and I'm sure that they were just kind of talking about it.
A mess back here on this short track, and this is a recipe for disaster. They're 3 wide. The 6 car of Reagan, J.J. Yaley in the 18 in the middle. Casey Kane, who's had some damage up high.
You know, 3 wide at Richmond generally doesn't happen, but it's happening here because these guys are a little bit slower than the older car, and the corner speed is down, and they're sticking it right up in there and making them 3 wide.
It was announced this week that J.J. Yaley will be moving to the Hall of Fame racing team in 2008. We'll update where he's going and what's going to happen with that team as you watch this battle, left side of your screen, battle for second place. These are teammates, and Tony Stewart slides right up in front of Denny Hamlin and takes the spot away.
Tony Stewart's on the move here. You've seen him just kind of methodically moving up during the race, but it looks like his car is really coming to life right here.
Well, Tony Stewart's got multiple wins here at Richmond, and this has been one of his better tracks also. Remember, the first car tomorrow race was at Bristol, and he had a dominant car until he had a fuel pump problem.
More on Tony Stewart with Alan Bestwick.
Yeah, a couple quick updates here. We talked earlier in the race about a driver's team taking time, giving up spots on pit road to work with a spring rubber. On the lap 132 stop they made under caution, Tony Stewart's team gave up some track position to pull a spring rubber out of the right rear to help his car's handling. He reports it as being much better now. Also, much like other sports teams, injuries happen to pit crew members sometimes, and both Tony Stewart's his rear tire changer and carrier, his normal carrier and changer, are not on the job this weekend. They are nursing injuries. They want him to be healthy for the chase, so they pulled back a couple of longtime veterans for him, this Joe Gibbs Racing team, to substitute this weekend.
Thanks, Alan. As you look at Dale Earnhardt Jr., this is the highest we have seen him run tonight. They have worked on the car. Whoa, Jimmy Johnson out of shape. Earnhardt Jr. now all the way up to 5th position and trying to take the 4th spot away from Jimmy Johnson. Looks like he'll have that position. You saw what the other bubble boys were there. Talking about the 2 car of Kurt Busch and the 29 of Harvick. They are 9th and 7th, respectively. Dale Earnhardt Jr. needs to lead as many laps as he can and hope that possibly he gets a little bit of help from Kurt Busch or Kevin Harvick to get this car in the chase tonight. We welcome you back to the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Richmond International Raceway at a stop number 26 of 36 on the NASCAR Nextel Cup Tour. Final race here in the race to the chase. Well, earlier we asked you in our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge a question: which driver will add to their win total tonight? Would it be Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, or Kurt Busch? Let's see how you voted, guys. And Jeff Gordon gets the most votes. Carl Edwards got a lot of votes. He had a very good race car. Obviously, he's done for the night. And Jimmy Johnson right there with him. So you wonder, that's what the fans think. Now, what about what do the guys in the 24 car pits think? Let's listen in.
Say the last time that thing took off, the best it's taken off. We'll see what we're doing. You're still real good. That 99 was probably the best car, but you and the 11, 48, and the 99 were real good. So 99, I don't see a problem. We just got to keep working on our stuff, man. You're doing great.
That's Steve Letarte, the crew chief. He's just cheering his driver on, trying to give him an assessment of the cars around him that are good.
So he agreed with the fans. The 99 was good. He thought the 11 and the 48 are pretty good along with him. So that puts them all in the same boat.
Well, they called it a crew chief challenge, right? Well, Steve Letarte, one of the best crew chiefs down there.
There was the 11, making only his 4th ever start. Denny Hamlin at his home racetrack. He is from nearby Chesterfield, Virginia. Let's take a look at the replay on the 11 car and watch Denny Hamlin as he makes this move to avoid getting wrecked himself there. The Allstate Good Hands move of the race. Contact with Clint Boyer. And Denny Hamlin was in pretty good hands there, hanging on to that steering wheel.
Well, he really was. Usually a tap like that to take both of his around, but Denny was able to get knocked up to the track a little bit and hold on to it.
On behalf of Denny Hamlin, Allstate will donate $1,000 to the Urban Youth Racing School.
They went to Chevrolets are really impressive tonight. The top 6 positions. Those guys have been up top all day long, but Newman's Dodge has been hanging right in there real strong also. Led early in the race. Hey, another fellow looking good throughout the night. I've been watching Jamie McMurray. McMurray's had a good car, but Denny Hamlin smoked a little bit there.
See that smoke out of quite a few cars. I've kind of seen it come and go on a lot of cars. I'm not sure it's not that splitter rubbing the racetrack.
Andy, it's got to be something like that because there's so many cars smoking.
88 car spins. That is Kenny Wallace subbing for Ricky Rudd. And that will bring out caution number 7 on the night.
It looks like he got away with it with no damage on that car. Got lucky. Nobody hit him. Just sitting sideways in front of the oncoming field off of turn 2. That's rough.
Pretty tight coming off turn 2. Not a lot of room to avoid a wreck over there, too. So
news breaking this week that Travis Quapple will drive this car in 2008. Ricky Rudd retiring. Kenny Wallace subbing for Rudd because of the injured shoulder. And Robert Yates turning the team over to his son, Doug Yates. And Robert's going to retire and sit back with Carolyn and then relax and enjoy life and let his son, Doug, take this team with Travis Quapple and David Gilliland in the 2008 and beyond.
Oh, Kenny got a little help.
So Kenny got spun by the 40 car at David Stremley. I saw all the tire marks on his left rear tire.
It's always a telltale sign when you see that.
Yeah, Stremley and Kenny are good friends, and so I know that was not on purpose. It just got a little aggressive there.
This might strain the friendship just a bit.
Well, Kenny did a killer job getting that car stopped and not getting in a wall, but look at that driver's side first with all the cars are coming at you.
Under caution, it's time for the leaders to come on and get some fresh Goodyear tires. They're headed down to you, Mike.
And Matt Kenseth just came over the radio dock and said the car's just not as good as it was before. And I quote, he says, guys are just blowing by me. He needs a lot more forward grip. Right now, the team is over the wall, going to work on the right side. A 4-tire change expected for the 17. Jamie?
Jeff Gordon in his pit box, and the green car's a new look for Jeff Gordon. They're going to make a track bar adjustment once again. He said he's tight in the middle. He's been fighting the same deal all night long. Let's go to Allen.
Tony Stewart running the highest he's been all night, up to second place. 4-tire change and an adjustment as well for this 20 car. Tony looking for some help with the forward bite on the car.
Pit stops completing, and there's the rush off of pit road. And you take a look at the brace off of pit road. Couple of games. How about Montoya up 3 positions? Earnhardt Jr. up a spot. Now that's the highest he has run all night. He's in 3rd position. Both he and Tony Stewart are moving toward the front.
There's 8 cars in 3rd position right now. Started 21st. Made it all the way up to 3rd right now. And their car keeps getting better and better as the race goes on.
Watch the race off of pit road. Jeff Gordon goes sailing by. Here comes Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Eury and the guys getting it done in the pits. Jimmy Johnson now. Let's watch what happened in the Dale Earnhardt Jr. pits. Jackman Brian Hootie Chase working around this 8 car, getting it done. Getting Jr. up to 3rd position. Back to Richmond after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Richmond International Raceway, we've restarted. Jeff Gordon is the leader. And look who is in 2nd position. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on the move.
Tony Stewart locked his left front tire up getting into turn 3.
Spin and heavy contact. McMurray's involved. Montoya's involved. Ryan Newman slowing down. David Reagan is there. And now fire on the front of 1 car. The 2 cars damaged and lots of fire on one Pablo Montoya's car.
He needs to shut that car off and get out of it. He sheared an oil line or a fuel line here.
He's trying to get out. He unhooks the belts and climbs out. Right at the start-finish line. Juan unable to wave to the fans who applaud the fact that he's able to get out of the car. A chain reaction crash as they were coming out of turn 4 to the start-finish line. Montoya, he is okay. They're going to have him take him in to be checked out at the care center. NASCAR has those kind of rules that make sure a driver has contact. Now, the 2 car had to finish 36th or better tonight, and he was damaged in that fray just a moment ago.
Yeah, and he's not in much trouble right now because the rear wing is in pretty good shape, but it's awful high up. It got pushed up, and that can cause the car to push really, really bad, slide the front end. So this could mean big trouble for Busch.
There's a fire underneath the 31 car.
We had just gone back to green. Now watch top of your screen coming out of turn 4, and you're going to see this thing all start to develop. The 12 car spins. And they'll all jam up behind him. There's the 12 car with Kenseth right behind him, and now no one can see a thing.
Kevin Harvick makes a good move down through the grass, doesn't get any damage. He gets through it. Harvick gets right through it, no problem whatsoever. Watching from the in-car camera.
Well, Harvick dodged a bullet right here.
Jeff Burton on board camera. He sees all the smoke, and where do you go?
Go to the bottom of the racetrack. Go where there's vision. And he had vision down low. You don't go to the top of the racetrack, even though the cars might slide from the top to the bottom because of the banking angle.
From the flag stand, right at these guys. How quickly, a great reaction by Rick Monroe and Rodney Weiss of flagman. And then Flower just erupts in the front of this Dodge.
He shared an oil line or a fuel line, and he tried to take off. And as soon as he did, it just, this fire erupted. He just stopped and got out of it. Uh-oh, this could be a problem here for Harvick.
This is not good news. Harvick's car overheating real bad. Kurt Busch has got a big problem.
One thing that happened right here on this, when he went through the grass, he could have packed all that up in the front of this car. Now you see it.
And that's what he's done.
Now, C4, we're going to stop us. We can just, I think we can stop and be okay. We'll just come in the next time after you cut it off here.
They're going to shut these cars off here, and it could help these guys let this thing cool off, but they still can't work on it. They're going to have to come back in the pits and clean this grill off. Remember
here in May, in the spring race here, that his teammate, Jeff Burton, had a very good race car, and suddenly, boom, the engine went away, and he finished 43rd. So Kevin Harvick, sitting there watching that steam pour out from under the hood, has got to be concerned.
And what makes this even more of a concern is he looks at that leaderboard, and he sees that number 8 in second spot.
Yeah, but still, he's got to get up in the 20s right now. Get this car down pit road after they go back, bring the red flag out, and put water in this car, cool it down, take the time. They can do that on a pit stop.
Yeah, they've just got to go on defense right now. They just got to make sure that this car finishes the race.
Yeah, forget about trying to win the race right now. Get it down there, get it to finish the race.
Remember that Harvick has to finish 32nd or better. If he finishes 32nd or better, no matter what Earnhardt Jr. does, he's in the chase. The 2 car that had his damage has to finish 36th or better.
Both the cars that Junior is racing, Dale Earnhardt Jr. racing, have damage. Take a look at Kurt Busch's. That rear wing is awful high. I think it's really going to kill the handle in the car. And now the 29 car, Kevin Harvick, problems also. Although I think Harvick can recover.
He can recover as long as it doesn't damage the engine.
118,000 people here understand what could possibly happen here tonight. And the drama beginning to build in this race to the chase. Earnhardt Jr. all the way up to second position. Kevin Harvick could be in trouble.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by the Principal Financial Group. We'll give you an edge. DirecTV. Ride shotgun on race day with NASCAR Hot Pass only on DirecTV. Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar. Eating good in the neighborhood. Applebee's. And Avodart.
Richmond International Race Raceway, 32nd consecutive sellout, over 112,000, and they understand what could possibly happen here tonight. Now, we're under caution, and the reason we're under caution is the driver standing with Mike Massaro.
And, of course, that's Juan Pablo Montoya, who was laughing and smiling as he came out of the care center, just happy, I would imagine, to get out of that barbecue unscathed. What was it like being in that fiery race car?
Truly, it wasn't that bad. You know, it's a bit of a shame. My technical Havoline Dodge car today was amazing. We had a fast car. We're making, you know, it was first time, you know, first couple stops we were very careful. Then we started making bigger changes, and we made up a lot of ground, and I was very happy. And I just got hit from behind and ran into the guy in front, and you know, it's a shame. You know, when you run bad, nothing happens. When you run great, something always happens.
You say you got hit from behind. Can you elaborate on that, exactly what happened?
I have no idea. I felt, you know, somebody hit me, and then it just dragged me all the way to the car in front. So I don't know who it was.
Obviously, disappointed Juan Pablo Montoya after a short night, Doc.
Juan Pablo Montoya fortunate to get out of that car. Now, the big scenario, the drama beginning to build here tonight, folks. We came in, this is the last race to get in the chase, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. needed to win this race or finish in the top 5. Kevin Harvick needed to finish 32nd, and Kurt Busch needed to finish 36th, and both those guys have some serious issues.
Well, who would ever believe that Kevin Harvick's having a problem right now, and Kurt Busch in the same caution? Now, I believe that Harvick can get his car fixed, get it cooled down, and get some water back into it. But Kurt Busch, on the other hand, has got a lot of damage in the back of that car.
Jamie?
Well, I'm with the crew chief for the 29, Kevin Harvick, Todd Barrier, as if it can't get any bigger than this. And right now, your guys' grill is stuffed full of grass and it's spraying water. How concerned are you, and how long can he run until he has to come in and get water?
We don't have a choice but to get the grass off the grill now, and as long as we do that, we won't have to fight any other problems. But I mean, if we had done that and it still be under green, we would have to pit, you know, because the thing can't run but so hot so long. So we'll have to get in here and get the grill cleaned up, a little tape off the thing, and we should be perfectly fine.
Well, so far you guys are doing exactly what you need to do. You're kind of hanging in there and you're just kind of being cautious. But what is your driver saying right now about the water temperature?
It was like 270 there under caution. But these are pressurized systems and they can stand it. You know, it's still got water pressure, so we know there's not a hole in the radiator. So all we got to do is get the grass cleaned off of there, and it'll be back to 230, and we'll be good to go.
All right, guys, as you've been saying, the 29 has to make it to the end, so they have some issues to work through. Let's go over to Dave Burns.
Kurt Busch, of course, has to finish 36th or better to control his own destiny in this race. Pat Trison is his crew chief. A lot of damage on the back of that car. You guys have looked at it high, low, from where you can. What do you think?
So far, everything looks pretty good. Just basically sheet metal. I know, like Dodge's been pretty good all night. We just making small adjustments back and forth a little bit, getting a little loose on long runs, but it doesn't look like the damage is too bad. We just pretty much just sheet metal. We don't think anything's structural. It looks like we can get gas in and everything, so I think we'll be in pretty good shape here for the rest of the night.
You mentioned the fuel. Is the fuel fill look like it's clear that you'll be able to fill it okay?
Yeah, you know, they let one guy go out there to service the driver and look around a little bit, so it looks like the fuel filter is fine, and fuel fills good, and so we should be good the rest of the night.
All right, two-car damage on it, guys, but it sounds like so far they think it's all right.
Kevin Harvick currently is 7th, and Kurt Busch is 11th. Now, despite the fact that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 2nd, those guys are going to have an issue to be able to fall back and finish poorly. My question right now is to you, Andy Petrie. You know Richard Childress, and you know what happens when an engine overheats. How concerned would Kevin Harvick be because of that engine getting really, really hot?
We heard Todd Barrier down there trying to sound real calm, but I know that he's a little worried about this. That 270 really isn't a problem. It probably didn't hurt the engine, but he does need to get back this team on. Only a catastrophe is going to keep them out of this chase, and they just have to guard against that, make sure they get it full of water, make sure they got plenty of air to the grill, and if they go out there and run in the mid-20s, that's all they need to do.
Jamie?
Well, Doc, we've been playing some great radio from Dale Earnhardt Jr. to Tony Eury Jr., his crew chief, about how ill-handling his car is, but all of a sudden it's come to life. Tony, what kind of magic have you worked on this car the last couple pit stops?
Well, we've changed a lot of different things in the back of the car. Like I said, we didn't really have all much practice with this geometry package on the front, and just fine-tuning some things, and we've hit on a couple things that's brought it to life. So maybe we can get by this 24 and get our 5 bonus points and start leading a couple laps.
So what are the chances you're going to get around that 24 right now?
With the wheel he's got, it's going to be pretty good.
Oh, there you go. So with the wheel he has now, guys, stay tuned. We got to see how Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishes this race up.
Jamie, this is a great combination, and Tony Eury Jr. will be going over to Hendrick Motorsports with Dale Earnhardt Jr. as a crew chief in 2008 in a number yet to be decided. Now, again, coming in here, Dale Earnhardt Jr. had needed to finish the top 5 or lead the most laps. He cannot lead the most laps, but look, Kevin Harvick finishes 34th or worse with no laps led. He makes it in the chase. The drama building here at Richmond. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Welcome you back to NASCAR Nextel Cup action. ESPN on ABC. It is the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Now, we asked some of the drivers to tell us about your rock and roll favorites. Here's what they had to say.
First concert I ever went to would have been ZZ Top. Probably Aerosmith.
Huey Lewis in the News.
Black Sabbath in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I think I was 15. Why someone let a 15-year-old go to a Black Sabbath concert, I'll never know. I think I just loved the classic rock stuff because my parents were so heavy into it. Couldn't afford good seats, so we sat pretty high. All the lights just blinded you.
Huey Lewis was cool back when I'm old now, so everybody can't laugh at me. Huey Lewis, man. He was the man back then.
Some of the rock and roll, a lot of Aerosmith fans. There's Elvis on the side of, and the King is here. Riding along with Dale Earnhardt Jr. in second spot. And by the way, they did get the 29 car on pit road. He will go to the tail of the field because he had to pit too soon, but he had no choice. They had to get the grass off of this grill.
Yeah, they came down and do you see all this grass? It just packs up in that grill. There's a grill opening actually up underneath that bumper line. They have to get that part clear. See them here, they get all that, take a little tape off too. Make sure they get, air in there, but I'm a little concerned they didn't put water in it. You didn't lose a lot of water, and under normal circumstances, it wouldn't be a big deal. You'd probably just go ahead and run. But boy, with what they have to lose, I think I would have topped that thing off with water.
Yeah, that's what made me really nervous when I didn't see the hood come up. If I'd like to see the hood come up, they can pressurize these systems with water, put more water in it, and they elected not to do that. I guess the engine man says we didn't lose enough to do that.
Chevy pace car looking back at the 24 car as we get down to Susie Colbert with our McDonald's race rundown. Susie?
Yeah, in the final race in the chase for the Nextel Cup, the story is in the McDonald's race rundown. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. came in. He knew he had to have the perfect race, but early pit problems.
He had early pit problems and struggled, moved his way back to the middle of the pack, but he started to work his way up towards the front.
Lap 181, Carl Edwards out front and having a blast. He's already locked into the chase, but maybe too much of a blast
Old
there.
99 car was toting the mail this evening. That thing was flying before it let go.
And Clint Boyer also locked in, driving aggressively and perhaps too aggressively with nothing to lose.
Well, it's a great opportunity for Clint Boyer to get a win before he gets into the chase next week. He needs one win in the grade.
But throughout the night, we've talked about the boys on the bubble. It's 3 drivers going for 2 spots, and one of those, Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch got into a little fender bender there. I think he's okay, though. Had minimal damage to the rear end. Take a deep breath. He and Kevin Harvick, they're just fine.
Kevin Harvick overheating, and that's going to put a scare in that team.
Everybody just take a deep breath. Kevin Harvick's doing fine. Kurt Busch is okay. Earnhardt Jr. still marching his way to the top. We're still in the same scenario. Everybody just take a deep breath.
Earnhardt Jr. sitting there in that second spot. And if you noticed in our countdown show, Jimmy Johnson was sporting that Budweiser cap. And you just have to wonder if his future teammates, maybe there's a sentimental pull for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
It's great to get the conspiracy theories going.
Doc, up to you.
Getting set for the restart here, lap 249. It'll be 150 to go, and the pace car is going to pull away. We're going to watch and listen as Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. come down and take the green flag. Listen in, folks.
Green. You're clear all around,
The Chevrolet of Jeff Gordon, the Chevy of Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Chevy of Tony Stewart and Clint Boyer.
What a 15-car Paul Menard.
7-3 ahead on the outside. Slower.
15-car Paul Menard. He got awful close to the left rear quarter panel. The 8-car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Looks like gave a little nudge. That's a teammate.
Yeah, I was going to say, aren't they teammates?
Look at the 70 car and the 31. They had dropped back into the mid-20s about 100 laps ago, and they've now climbed all the way back up. A 31 is Jeff Burton, a 70, Johnny Sauter.
It's been a great night for Johnny Sauter. He's drove probably better than I've seen him drive all year long. Real smooth and fast. Real aggressive looking also.
Just ahead of these guys is the 07 of Clint Boyer. After that spin earlier, now he's back up there after staying out into that last caution.
You look at the AT&T logo on the 31 car, and that suit was resolved yesterday between AT&T, NASCAR, and Sprint, and they've allowed the AT&T logo with NASCAR approval back on the car for the remainder of 07 and all of 2008, and they'll have to search for something else on the car for 9 and 10.
And for a car owner, that's kind of half good because he was hoping his sponsor would be around for about 5 years at least. Looks like they only got him for about a year and a half now.
Battle for ninth position here, the 9 car of Casey Kane and the 5 of Kyle Busch.
Casey Kane's been really working on an ill-handling car throughout the night. You see him in the screen right there. The car's been pushing, it's been loose, it's been all over the place, and he's back. He worked himself clear back to 37th at one time. Now he's getting better.
He's worked himself back up now into the top 10.
These guys have had more time to work in these cars, make adjustments.
Tony Stewart able to make the move. He was able to make the dive underneath the 8 car, entering turn 3. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. didn't fight him too much. These two guys are pretty good buddies.
Well, I got to believe that if Tony Stewart knows that he can pull over and let Junior buy him to get some points, he's going to do it, but he's not going to do it till late in the race.
41 car, Reed Sorensen has spun around. That will bring out caution for the 9th time tonight.
He center punched the front of the car.
Looks like the front of that air dam has been up pretty good. It's going to cause the car to really handle ill.
See this fire coming out the tailpipes. These cars spin around. They get a little fuel down in the exhaust.
He's trying to fire it up right now.
Replay of what happened to Reed. Watch him right in the back of the 38, and he got a tap from behind by the 12.
Looked like something happened to the 38 car. Reed had to just back out of the gas, and it's just a stack-up chain reaction.
Here's the pass a moment ago. Now they're up the back straightaway into turn 3. Now the 8 car and the 20 battling for second position.
Well, he just barreled it down in underneath Dale Jr. and went for that bottom lane. The car stuck.
Almost like Junior gave him the spot.
Yeah, and that very well could have been too, because these guys get along good. Junior knows how good his car really is.
These two drivers both have won 3 times here. Clint Boyer in the pits. So is the 18 car of J.J. Yaley. Remember, Kyle Busch will be with this team in 2008, coming over to Joe Gibbs. Yaley down and away. There's a little residual fuel at the right side, burning away in the damaged right side of that Dodge. Reed Sorensen's car bringing out caution number 9. Kevin Harvick once again, he's just dodging the bullets right and left, able to get by the 41 car. And now from J.J. Yaley's onboard camera, looking back as they spin and bring out the yellow flag. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC station. Sights and sounds of a short track Saturday night NASCAR style. And you wonder why they jam in here at Richmond International Raceway to watch NASCAR's finest battle on a 3/4 mile. That's why this place is called the Action Track. We've had so much of it here in 262 laps. Getting set for the restart. Jeff Gordon the leader. Tony Stewart has made the pass. Dale Earnhardt Jr. There's that crowd. The 32nd consecutive sellout, over 112,000 fans, many of them on their feet, as they know what could potentially happen here in the race to the chase. Hayes car pulls away. Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Jimmy Johnson head for the green.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car got just a little bit loose off of turn 2, but he's hanging in there pretty good right now.
when Jeff Gordon punches the gas on these restarts, he can just jump out there 3 or 4 car lengths on these guys.
Every single restart all night long, Jeff's just had fantastic restarts. Only problem he's had was on pit road getting out of the pits.
31 car of Jeff Burton trying to go by on a lap car. That's Kenny Wallace in the 88 subbing for Ricky Rudd, and that's the 17 car of Kenseth in 5th. Burton is 6th. Johnny Sauter in the 70 car is 7th.
Well, we talked a lot about Johnny Sauter tonight. He is still running really fast, and that's a good-looking car. It's handling great out there right now, guys. It's just been consistent throughout the night.
This 5-car, Kyle Busch, has been fighting and locking up that left front tire, getting in the corners. He's had a fast car, but he's really fought that little issue there. Maybe they've got it fixed.
What about the rookie back behind this? That is David Reagan in the 6th car.
Yeah, David Reagan, he skirted a bullet because he had a lot of smoke on the left front fender when the fender got bent in. And I really thought it was going to blow out, but they got it pulled out, and he made it to the next pit stop. He's been running great all night long.
Here comes Tony Stewart.
Jeff Gordon, a 2-time winner here. Tony Stewart, a 3-time winner. 2 of the best at Richmond International Raceway going at it here in the final 133 laps. And Rusty Wallace, you were the best overall at this racetrack for many, many years. 6 times winner here. How do you make the pass?
Well, what he's got to do is get his nose up under the back of the 24 car and aerodynamically make him loose. We talked about how air does so much. You just got to get him aero loose and get up underneath him. And that'll make a car twitch and slide. But right now, he's got a pretty good position underneath of him.
When you're pinned down low like this, does it make the car unstable when you get down in the corner?
Well, it's going to make the lower car much unstable. You see him twitching around a little bit right now. And the car tomorrow is actually worse. It's worse conditions. And that top lane really is running fast tonight. A lot of grip up there.
Alan?
Well, I talked to Greg Zipadelli, Tony Stewart's crew chief, this afternoon, Doc, about this 20 car. He said the last couple times we've been here, we haven't been able to keep the front end of the car planted in the corner to let Tony cut like he'd like to, like perhaps he'd need to make a pass for the lead. So they took this car earlier this week to New Smyrna Beach, Florida, and took it to a half-mile short track there and tested it all day. They came here today with the same stuff they left that racetrack with to try and win this race. They thought they made some gains through their scientific testing, as Greg called it. Looks good so far.
Right side of your screen, the Busch brothers. Kurt, the older brother, in the 2. Kyle, the younger, in the 5. And that is David Reagan, the rookie, right there with him.
Looks like Kyle Busch still having a problem locking that left front tire up, and see smoke coming out of it just there going in the corner.
And a lot of times when you lock up the left front, it just doesn't mean there's not enough of wheel weight up there. He's going to have to make a chassis adjustment to make that stop doing that, or else he's going to have a lot of problems. An 11 car.
This is 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th. These 4 cars battling here. Alan?
Yeah, so how did Denny Hamlin in that 11 get back there, Doc? He was in the top 5 and even led the race earlier, right? Well, back on the pit stops at lap 235, they went to hand him a bottle of water through the driver's window net. But when Denny reached to grab it, he bumped a button on the steering wheel. It's a button where the driver's thumb would be positioned as he drives that he can shut the engine off in case the throttle sticks wide open going to the corner. By the time they got it restarted, he was 23rd. This is a rally to get to this point. Dave?
Kyle Busch, Allen, is trying to cling to the top 10. They still haven't got the handle on that car. Mostly tied all night long. Just would not turn. That's the problem he started with. That's the problem he's been fighting all night long. Really just trying to hang on to that top 10. He's just out there saying, oh my goodness, this car is crazy.
The 5 car, he was staying to work in that top lane, just trying to make something work up there. Car's just not handling good, and I didn't expect this out of him at all. That car was so dominant last night. I know this is the car tomorrow, but
125 laps to go. As the laps are winding down, the drama starting to build. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 4th spot. What's going to happen to the guys he's chasing in the chase? Right now, Johnny Sauter. There's Earnhardt, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and Tony Stewart, our leader at Richmond. Back in just a moment.
I'm Stan Barrett, and this is the Sports Center Minute powered by Vizio. Over on ESPN, we've got our first college football top 10 matchup of the season. Number 9 Virginia Tech taking on number 2 LSU, and the Tigers with a 17-0 lead on the Hokies. Matt Flynn and Jacob Hester with touchdowns for LSU. After their upset loss at the hands of Appalachian State, Michigan suffers its worst home loss ever. Oregon beat the Wolverines 39-7 today in Ann Arbor to drop Michigan to 0-2. NFL news, Michael Strahan will play Sunday night when the Giants take on the Cowboys. He had considered retirement in training camp before returning to the team. That's the SportsCenter Minute. Now back to the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 in Richmond.
Thanks, guys. Back at Richmond International Raceway. NASCAR action here. They're getting it done on the short track at Richmond. Tony Stewart, a three-time winner here, trying to pick up his fourth win of 2007. He has led 15 laps and trying to be able to tie Jeff Gordon as a four-time winner in the seeding for the chase.
And as the nights went on, this 20 car has got the car handled better and better and running faster and faster. But the 8 car is also doing the same thing. He's getting better. Jamie, what's going on down there?
Well, he's got his hands full. He's got cars in front and behind trying to take a spot away, so he needs a little help from his team. Some reminders. This was his radio just a few moments ago.
They've been getting too hot. You're definitely using them, mate. In the first part of the race, you had all 4 rotors go up. But you tell me, you was doing fine. They was just pink, but I mean, you could just see it, the rear rotors and the front. So, I mean, you just balanced out. You was wheeling it. Simple. Last time I seen that was when you won the Busch race here and you faced the far part.
So Tony Eury Jr. just reminding his driver Dale Earnhardt Jr. to turn those fans off so we can maximize the power on the restarts. So Rusty and Andy, why don't you guys talk about the significance of turning these blowers on and off? We're hearing a lot of it tonight.
Jamie, they're trying to control these temperatures and these brakes. When they overheat one end or the other, say the front or the rear, it unbalances the brake system. In other words, it'd make the front tires maybe slide, like we see Kyle Busch having a problem with his fronts, or it can actually lock the rears up. So they use those fans to kind of manage the heat in the brakes.
For more information on team communications, log on to ESPN.com, search word communications. I love the way Tony Eury used the positive reinforcement. Last time I saw the brakes glowing like that was when you beat Mark Martin in the NASCAR Busch Series race here.
Well, both brakes are glowing right now evenly. The right front and the right rear, actually the front and the back, are about equal temperature. So Junior's definitely made the right adjustments from inside the car to give equal distribution. Take a look at the rears are red, the fronts are red. Good job on his part.
Very seldom do you see both the front and rear rotors glowing. And this new car has really changed the dynamics of this brake system. These guys have to run a little bit more rear brake.
Kevin Harvick, he says everything is good. He reports to the crew that the engine temperature is down after they have the grass in the front and overheating. And he is locked in a battle for 15th position. He's 15th, and Kyle Busch wants it. Let's take a look at Kevin Harvick's night. Now, remember, he came in here, had to finish 32nd or better. Here was the big one early on at the start-finish line, and Harvick able to get down, but he went down in the grass and got grass all in the front splitter, and the car began to overheat. There came the concern. Watch the 29 car. There's Reed Sorensen spinning. He just gets by without getting collected in that incident.
And he's probably thinking right now, why is this so hard tonight? I thought this was going to be easy. And he's having to avoid all these catastrophes tonight around him.
See Kevin flipping some of the switches on his dashboard there. Got to wonder whether he's maybe playing with his brake blower.
Riding along with our Wrangler onboard telemetry. Let's watch him. Oh, jam that brake pedal on.
I see a lot of heat in the front rotors of this 29 car. And now the only big problem I see here is he had to start way back in the field. He's working his way up, got a fast race car, but he's using a lot of brakes to get back up there. That could cause him a problem right there just because of these overheated brakes.
And the caution flag is waving again here. There's contact, the 40 of Strimmy, the 44 of Dale Jarrett involved. Damage on the 26 of McMurray, the 22 of Dave Blaney.
It's a the big one here at Richmond.
So the 26 car, Jamie McMurray, that is really hurt. That car took a lot of damage along with the 22. But look at the front end of Jamie's car, just absolutely mashed back to the front tires. That is some severe damage. That's probably the worst I've seen all night long.
Here's the replay. Let's see what happened. At least 4 cars damaged in this incident.
It's another one of those chain reaction crashes. they just stack up. When somebody has a problem up front, you got all these cars running so fast and so close.
Try to make it 3 wide down through here. Elliott Sadler gets out of the throttle, gives Kenny Wallace a break, and when he does that, it stacks up behind him, and boy, all heck breaks loose. And the 22 into the side of Jamie McMurray, he loses his front end.
Now from Jeff Green's onboard camera.
Check up. Come on, keep coming.
I'm telling you, as a driver, when it's just solid smoke, you can't do anything and you're on the brakes, you're just lucky to make it through that.
You see how quick things happen.
A lot of fluid on the racetrack, so they don't want these guys running through that fluid, oil, etc., and debris, so they're going to stop the cars and try to get cleanup over there to try to get this mess cleaned up on the back stretch. 4 cars involved: Dave Blaney, Jamie McMurray, 2-time Richmond winner Dale Jarrett, and the 40 car of David Strimmy. In the latest caution flag, we now have had 10 caution flags for 53 laps tonight. Cleanup continues. We'll come back with a restart in just a moment.
I don't got a huge old house. I rent a room in the house. Listen, baby girl.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Chevy and American Revolution. Pepsi. Pennzoil Platinum. Full synthetic motor oil with adaptive molecules. And Sprint, featuring NASCAR Nextel Cup Series updates at Sprint Speed.
We are at Richmond International Raceway. It's sold out Richmond, where we are under a red flag condition because of a 4-car accident here on lap 293. We have 106 laps to go. Here's the projected chase points as of right now. If the race were to finish right now, these are the 12 drivers that would be in the chase. You get 10 bonus points per win, and Jimmy Johnson has 5 wins. He would have 5,050 as of starting next week at New Hampshire. Dale Earnhardt Jr., 86 behind 12th in Harvick, currently 13th in the NASCAR Nextel Cup points. He has got to be able to stay there, and there's got to be some concern in the Harvick camp about number 1, the engine, and number 2, the brakes.
Didn't really heat those brakes up a lot. Back in the pack, we were trying to talk about that when that wreck happened, but if we saw 2 tires already that had blown out on these cars, and what's happened there is that brake heat gets up into that wheel, and it charcoals the bead of the tire and just blows it out instantly. And that's the only thing I would really be concerned about if I was Todd Berrier and Kevin Harvick, is that he's using the brakes awful hard trying to work his way back up through this pack.
And his crew chief needs to be telling that too, Andy. He needs to be communicating with Kevin, saying, look, your front brake rotors are awful hot. Back off them, because it is going to hurt the tires.
We are serious about who's going to get in this chase tonight, but how about some serious NFL action coming your way on Monday night? A doubleheader starting at 7 o'clock Eastern time. First, it's Chad Johnson and the Bengals looking to make a big statement against the rough-and-tumble Baltimore Ravens. Then how about the Heisman winner, Matt Leinart, and the Arizona Cardinals taking on the San Francisco 49ers. And our own Susie Colbert will be there. And, Susie, that Baltimore Raven defense is pretty doggone tough.
Well, you can say that again. And Ray Lewis in his 12th season promises that he's better than he's ever been. And that defense was number 1 in the NFL last year. And, Brad, yep, I know you're a Ravens fan, and this defense is all about aggressiveness and creating confusion. But the Bengals promise, too. They like to dictate as well, and they'll do that with some confusion of their own.
Well, yeah, the Bengals are going downfield, no doubt about that, and the Ravens defensively are very, very good. But they need to stop talking about Steve McNair like he's an old man in Baltimore. He has a lot of wind left in him. And Brian Billick, he's a very offensive-minded coach. They'll spread the team. Jonathan Ogden comes back at offensive tackle, so they got some good things happening for the Ravens as they go forward.
You know, if anybody's talking about Steve McNair feeling old, it's him. He says he feels every bit of 31 years old.
He can go now. Leave him alone. Leave Steve McNair alone. Let him play.
13th season, but the good thing is for the Ravens that McNair had a full off season in this system, feels much more comfortable. So we're looking forward to Monday Night Football, but right now our head's in this game, and I'm looking at Dale Earnhardt Jr. sitting there in 4th position.
He's looking strong. It's he's doing everything that he can possibly do at this point. So we'll see what happens after they clean it up. Let's go back to the booth, Doc.
Thank you, Brad and Susie. Big doubleheader in the NFL coming Monday night, and we're trying to get some repairs done on the wall here at Richmond tonight. This is the 10th caution flag of the night. Now, here's where they had contact with the wall. Watch the 88 and 19. Oh, the 26 and McMurray got it head on.
Yeah, McMurray just hammers the wall. He's the one that actually caused the damage to the wall. Although it doesn't look like there's much damage to that wall. This shouldn't take too long to get back green here at Richmond.
It's going through the mind of the Jeff Gordon camp. How about Steve Letarte? Jamie's down there.
Well, he's down here taking a break. Perfect timing. So I have to ask you, Steve, you guys were dominating this race, and all of a sudden Tony Stewart just appeared out front. Was this a surprise to you, and do you guys have enough to get him back?
Well, first of all, I don't think Tony Stewart out front of Richmond is a surprise to anybody. But, no, I mean, the DuPont Nickrest Chevrolet has been great all night long. We've been fighting a little drive off, and we've been working on it. And I think we finally just got the center too tight. So we're going to go back on some of our adjustments and see, 100 laps to go in a short track race. Nothing's ever over. So if it comes down to a short run, I think we're real good. On a long run, we definitely have to make the car better.
Talking about fuel strategy here, this could come down to a fuel strategy race. What do you think?
Well, I hope everybody else is concerned because we can make it no problem. So it won't be a big concern from here.
That poker face. They can make it no problem. We're going to have to wait and see once we get going green again, Doc.
Jeff Gordon doesn't have to worry about it, and now neither does Kurt Busch. He cannot finish worse than where he needed to finish, so he is officially locked in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Congratulations to Kurt Busch and Roger Penske, that whole team. He'll be in the chase, but what about Harvick and Earnhardt? This telecast is available on ABC HD, presented by DLP. Richmond International Raceway, the final race to the chase. Kevin Harvick needing to finish 32nd or better. There sits the 29 car of Harvick. He's had an overheating problem. He's dodged a couple of really close calls on the racetrack. He's currently being shown back in 15th position. There are 8 cars that have been damaged and are either being repaired or out of the race. And so he needs to be able to have 3 more fall out, and he would be locked into the chase, so it's getting closer and closer for Kevin Harvick. Now, while we have a break here under the red, let's visit with our in-race reporter, driver of the AT&T Chevrolet, Jeff Burton, who's sitting back in the 7th position.
Jeff Burton, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
Yeah, buddy, I got you.
Well, Jeff, you got that thing in 7th position right now, but you've had to dodge a lot of bullets out there. Looks like it's pretty close racing.
Yeah, we obviously hadn't been as good as we hoped to be, but we keep working and making it better. Next thing you know, we're in 7th, so we're going to keep battling and see what we can make happen. We definitely keep making it better, and we're just, like I said, we're just going to keep on doing it. Who knows what can happen?
Jess, what are the brakes looking like out there? What do they feel like to you? We see a lot of red rotors, a lot of guys look like they're getting themselves in trouble, blowing right front tires because of it, things like that.
Yeah, this car tomorrow is a real challenge with the braking. They don't brake like a normal car. We're going to think the whole garage has work to do on the braking, but you see a lot of people dragging the left front tire. You see a lot of people really loose getting in the corner too. That's what we are. So I can't afford to put rear brake in it and try to save the fronts because I'm so loose. But then you borderline lock the left front up. So this place is as hard as anywhere we go on brakes. We got a little bit of a different package tonight. We're trying some experimenting a little bit, but I think we're learning something.
All right, buddy. Thanks for talking to us.
How good is to be able to sit and visit with a driver during the race as an in-race reporter, and you see that Jeff Burton putting the gloves back on. The 70 car, great run for Johnny Sauter. His best finish of the year was 9th earlier in the year at Phoenix, and he's having a run that could really change their entire season here. Dave?
And, Doc, that was their only top 10 of the season so far, with Booty Barker right now on top of their pit box. And, not only did he start 35th tonight, but y'all had some problems here on pit road that sent him back to 30th or so earlier. How's he recovered from all this?
He's drove a smart race. No mistakes. It's easy to happen here. Car's doing well, and the crew, we've really worked hard to get to this point, believe it or not. I mean, all of us do, but we've had to hang in there. This top 35 battle is difficult, but that's the way it should be, right?
And here at this track, with this race car, Buddy, one of the common denominators is you get your cars, or your chassis anyway, and your motors from Hendrick Motorsports. So one might expect you to run well, but where does that start and where does that stop in terms of being the answer of why Johnny's having a great night?
It's a great help. I mean, we work well together. I'd like to thank Rex Stump. He's the lead engineer over there at Hendrick, and he's works hard on this COT stuff and feeds us a lot of information. But we had a good test. Anywhere where we get to test and run a lot, we seem to do better. And we had a Richmond test here in the spring. We ran well in the spring. We got caught up in a wreck, and it's just, maybe I'm just a slow learner. You reckon? It's just, it must be my fault.
Well, and you don't get all the support from them, right? You guys sort of operate as a single-car team most of the time, right?
Oh, well, no, us in the 66. So no. The whole Haas organization puts into work. Absolutely. And for what we've accomplished, the whole organization deserves all this credit. So it's taken a lot of work, and we deserve to be here.
That's a good run for him so far. Johnny Sauter has had success here. One of his 3 Busch Series wins came at this racetrack, and hoping to stay near the top 5, guys.
Davey finished 5th in his very first NASCAR race here. It was a Busch race back in September of 2001, and having a great run here tonight in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. He was on the ABC Primetime Show a couple of weeks ago. Great up-close and personal look at Johnny Sauter and his chase to become a top NASCAR driver. Back with hopefully the restart here in just a moment. Make sure to tune in after the race to NASCAR Now for extended post-race coverage. Once this chase field is set, NASCAR Now presented by DirecTV later tonight at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. So once we set the field, we'll have extensive post-race coverage of what the drivers and crews and everyone's thinking about what's going to happen in the 2007 chase to the NASCAR Nextel Cup. We just joined our coverage. We'll bring you up to date. Dale Earnhardt Jr. started 21st tonight. Didn't have a good car early on. Didn't have a good luck in the pits. He gets blocked in as he pits behind the 10 car of Scott Briggs. But the car began running a little better. Now suddenly he goes sailing by the guy he's chasing in the points, Kevin Harvick, as he's moving toward the front of the field. Denny Hamlin leading here, being challenged by Clint Bowyer. There's contact. Couple of taps. Hamlin somehow hangs on to the race car, loses the lead, but doesn't spin out. Not so lucky for Clint Bowyer, who went back to 25th. Carl Edwards, who finished first at Bristol and second at California. The engine really running well until, boom, it goes away. He had just led for 15 consecutive laps. And Kevin Harvick needed to finish 32nd. He's avoided a big crunch to the start-finish line, but he got grass all over the front grille. The engine overheating. He had to come on the pit road. Now avoids another spin. The 41 car of Reed Sorensen somehow stays away from the contact, and that's where we are right now. We are under a red flag condition here at lap 294, 106 laps to go due to a 4-car crash. And there sits Kevin Harvick and the other guys. Here are the projected standings as of right now in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Kevin Harvick, by virtue of the win at Daytona, he won the season opening Daytona 500. Remember, you get 10 bonus points per victory. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 13th in the points, and remember, he is now 86 points back of Harvick. But we still have 106 laps to go, and anything can happen. Can Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's running 4th right now, hang on? Will Harvick survive? We'll find out who's in the chase when we come back in a moment.
Here are the pit stops. Johnny Sauter, no changes to his car. They will change 4 tires and send him back out. Fresh rubber trying to be the other story here at Richmond. Mike.
Matt Kenseth says he's loose, needs more traction off. They'll pull a spring rubber from the right rear and make an air pressure adjustment. Jamie.
Air pressure adjustment for Jeff Gordon. He's in 3rd. Remember, Steve Letarte said after the stop, they're going to go to the end on fuel. Alan?
No changes for the 20 car. Tony Stewart came down pit road as the leader. Will he get away from pit road with the lead intact? Let's see.
Saw the crew applauding there as he left, and Jimmy Johnson will gain a spot on pit road. Tony Stewart will not leave as the leader. He loses a position. Casey Kane up 4 spots to 5th. Matt Kenseth back 3. Johnny Sauter lost a couple, and Martin Truex joins the top 10 by gaining a spot in that pit stop. The red flag has been withdrawn, and now the cars are rolling. They have made their pit stops. As we will come back with a green flag with about 100 laps to go. Great pit work here. The crew cam being worn by Brian Hootie Chase in the Earnhardt Jr. pit. flag back at Richmond International Raceway. 101 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson the leader, Tony Stewart. Third place is Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. is fourth.
And it's been a long time since we've seen Jimmy Johnson up front. He's got that clean area. He's got a clear track right now. They've been working on this car throughout the night. It's probably the best it's going to handle.
Tony Stewart's had the best car. He's catching, looks like he might be catching Johnson just a little bit here, but it seems like Johnson just shows up right here at the end of the race every week.
Well, Tony's car is really good, guys. They were talking earlier about maybe making a little bit adjustment to try to get the car off the corner better, but Tony's a little scared about doing it because the car's been so fast.
Jimmy Johnson driving for Hendrick. Tony Stewart for Joe Gibbs on the left side of your screen. Right side, you see the 70 car. That is Johnny Sauter, and he's trying to hold off Casey Kane for position. That's for the 6th spot.
You look up front to Jeff Burton there. He restarted in the 7th position. He's worked himself up in the 5th position right now, and he's had a pretty good car. They've been working on it throughout the night, getting it better.
31 is Burton. Behind him, the 70 is Sauter. The 9 is Casey Kane. 15 car is Paul Menard. He is 2 laps down. He's on the inside there.
Looks like Tony Stewart's starting to catch Johnson just a little bit right now. That last time by Stewart was about a 1/10 of a second faster than Jimmy.
Check out our sprint speed lap. Last lap, and you'll see that Tony Stewart was indeed quicker than the leader.
Johnson's got the advantage of having a clear racetrack in front of him. It's going to be a little tougher now for Stewart, not having that clean track in front of him like he had earlier.
Well, right now with these car tomorrows, they just don't have near the downforce as last year's car. So when you get behind a car, you lose a lot more, and they just don't handle near as good.
Got Gordon sneaking back in the picture here too.
Laps winding down. What about the communications? What are they thinking about in these cars and on pit road? Let's listen in to the Jimmy Johnson radio.
I got going there. I was good up on the top through the center and 3 off. If I can run the same pace I was running right there, nothing, bud. Maybe try to give me just a tick more forward fight if you can. We're pretty awesome on new tires, but it would just start getting tight and not roll in the middle. But I mean, that 20s drive off's not that great either.
Well, you see, like Jeff Gordon, he was really fast. He was a little bit loose off the corner, so he said tighten the car up. Instead of fixing that, it hurt the center of the corner. That really hurt him. On the other hand, Stewart had a different comment.
Yeah, Stewart's saying he needs a little more forward bite, which means his rear tires are slipping a little bit off the corner when he's full throttle. So these cars are all fighting just something a little different, but they're all running just about the same speed.
And the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, he sounds pretty happy. He's
real happy now. He's out front.
Yeah, whenever you can lead, you're the happiest guy out there, aren't you?
Jimmy Johnson set on the pole tonight, did not lead the first lap. He went sailing into turn 3 when he took the green flag, and he jumped on the brakes, and we were told the splitter was bouncing off the racetrack, so he lost the lead to his teammate, Jeff Gordon, who led the first 36 laps.
Right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is just pretty consistent, running 4th right now. He's about a 1/10 of a half in speed. That's just a little bit off the leaders. He's definitely not catching them. He's going to need another pit stop to make some more adjustments if he expects to win this race, because the car is just not fast enough right now.
Left side of your screen, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 4th position. On the right side is the 29 car. And, of course, that is Kevin Harvick being shown back in 15th.
We've been talking about all the things that could knock Kevin Harvick out of this thing, but one thing he likes that he's seen so far is all these crashes we've had have knocked a lot of cars out. Probably helping him a lot.
Right now, Kevin Harvick could actually finish 33rd and be locked into the chase. And with 5 cars out, that means if 5 more cars were be involved in an incident or have an issue, Kevin Harvick would be locked in.
You're just going to play it cool. You see him running right behind Clint Boyer, his teammate. Just kind of playing it cool.
And that's what Kevin's got to do right now, is just play it cool. But another problem is those front brake rotors.
Yeah, what's not cool are those front brake rotors. Every time we see those things, they're just glowing super red hot.
And, Kevin can be as calm as he wants right now, just hang out in the top 10, top 15, drive it easy, but if they don't get some heat off those front brakes, they're going to blow a right front tire out, and he can't do anything about that.
Moving inside the 12 car, Brian Newman. These two guys inside the car knowing they are trying to make it into the chase for the Nextel Cup. It is the 10-race playoff system that NASCAR invoked 4 years ago.
Kevin Harvick racing a 12 car, Ryan Newman trying to get around him, but again, look at the front brake rotors and look at the 12 car's brake rotors. No heat there, a ton in Kevin's car. Guys, that's going to be an issue if this continues. I'm really concerned for Kevin on that part.
There's two different mindsets with these two guys. You got Junior out there, he doesn't have anything to lose. He's just going to run as hard as he can. He's just going to say, hey, put it all on the table, leave it all on the racetrack. But Harvick, on the other hand, he's just got to kind of play it cool right here.
Well, he's got to play it cool, Andy, but the problem he's trying to play it cool, and the car's not cooperating with him right now.
11, 2, and 17. Hamlin, Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth. That's 8th, 9th, and 10th. Right side of your screen, while Kevin Harvick again continuing the battle inside the 12 car. And if you were on the radio with Kevin Harvick and knowing that you really still got, you can lose this thing. I mean, they're still going to have 4 more cars fall out. I mean, how aggressive do you want him to be here in the final 80 laps?
I think you just trust your race car driver. And, you know, Kevin Harvick knows what he's doing. He's pretty smart. I wouldn't be saying a whole lot unless I saw him get into some tight spots, and then I might remind him, hey, you got a lot to lose here.
But one thing Kevin Harvick can't see is his brake rotors. That's where he needs the help from his spotter. He needs the help from his crew chief to say, hey, man, we got a potential problem going on here. Give me a little break, cool those things off.
And Todd Berrier's got a perfect seat to look at these brakes going into turn 1. From their pit stall down there, he can see these things really glowing. You're down on the level of the racetrack, and you can see that temperature in these brakes.
Back up front, they are chasing Jimmy Johnson, who won a week ago. Johnson winning in his home state of California, picking up his 5th win of the season and his 28th career victory. He is the winningest driver in NASCAR Nextel Cup Series this year. So as of now, he would be the leader and get the top seed in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Johnson trying to hold on for his 6th win of the year. Tony Stewart in hot pursuit. Can Jimmy, the reigning champion, do it again?
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by GM's OnStar. Get the OnStar treatment no matter who you are. Valvoline, 100 years under the hood. And Subway Restaurants. Subway, eat fresh.
We welcome you back to the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. These aerial shots from high above a sold-out Richmond International Raceway, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Now, we are just 73 laps away from this being the chase lineup. Here, Jimmy Johnson, if he would hold on and get his 6th win of the year, would be the #1 seed in the 2007 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series chase to the championship. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 4th position. He is now 89 points back. He's still got a shot, folks, but he needs to have some help by something happening to Kevin Harvick. And Harvick now sitting solidly in 13th and running right in front of the 1 car of Martin Truex.
Well, the 29 car of Kevin Harvick right now, he's doing what he's got to do. He's just holding on for dear life, not making any mistakes, because if he finishes where he's at right now, he's locked in a chase, no problem whatsoever. Jamie?
Well, I talked to his crew chief, Todd Berrier, earlier today, and he said, you know, we're going to err on the cautious side. We're not going to push where we need to pass if it's going to risk anything. We're not going to push it on pit road and try to fight people and beat them off pit road. And we're definitely not going to flirt with the pit road speed. So they're being cautious, and it's hard for Kevin Harvick because you know he wants to go for the win, but he knows what he needs to do, and he just needs to finish this race to make it in the chase. Mike?
And Matt Kenseth has been radioing in. He may have a bit of a problem, and he discovered it on the restart. Listen in.
Put the best you can have on the
week, and that is race number 1 in the NASCAR Chase to the Nextel Cup. It is a 10-race playoff schedule. Now, the 4th year that they've had this race to the championship in effect, and what has it done? It has brought so much interest, and last year going to Homestead, you had 5 guys that were going for the championship in one race on the final day of the season.
Well, take a look at David Reagan on the bottom of Matt Kenseth right now. That was a pass right then for the 8th position. And Reagan, he's really recovered. He's had a great car tonight.
He's really impressed me this year. Rookie driver, he's running both series. He's running the Busch Series and the Cup Series. He's been very impressive.
David Reagan leads the Rookie of the Year points, the Rebecca's Rookie of the Year points in the NASCAR Busch Series. He is second in this series to Juan Pablo Montoya, trying to pick up his second top 10 finish of the year. He began the year with a 5th place finish in the Daytona 500, had an 11th place finish in California. This kid's getting better and better driving the Roush Fenway cars as the season winds down.
When you take a look at the 2 car and the 29 and the 1 car, these guys are all locked in the battle. Now, the 1 car, he's just got locked in. He's locked in for the chase for the championship. But it seems like these 2 fellows, the 29 and the 2, can't get away from each other at all, much like the 8 car and the 2 car did early on. You can tell they're racing each other.
Caution on the racetrack. The 7 car, Robbie Gordon, has had some pretty heavy contact with the wall up in turns 3 and 4. That'll bring out the 11th yellow flag of the night.
This looks very similar to the 10 car of Scott Riggs and the 78 of Joe Nemechek earlier.
And this needs to be a wake-up call to some of the teams really getting the brakes too hot. I mean, you see what's happening here. They're losing right front tires, car after car. I believe we've had 4 cars now tonight have brake-related problems. Another right front blown right into the wall because of hot right front brake rotors.
Goodyear engineers have told our pit reporters during commercial that what's happening, as you said, Rusty, that the brakes are getting so hot, it's melting the bead on that right front tire, and obviously that's the result there. You go right into the wall with hard contact.
That bead is the seal of the wheel and the tire.
Leaders on pit road, Dave?
Johnny Sauter's car has gone loose. They're going to increase the air pressure in the left rear tire to try to help him and get it back on and off the pit road and let him do what he does, according to crew chief Moody Barker. Jamie?
And Jeff Gordon said he's tight in the middle. He's not rolling good enough out there, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment and 4 tires. Let's go to Allen.
Jimmy Johnson lost the lead on a pit stop. He came in first, went out 4th earlier. Then last pit stop, he came in behind the leader and came out ahead. A 4-tire change here. We'll see who comes off the pit lane. It could be big. Johnson's going to hold the lead on that pit stop.
Boy, Jimmy Johnson looking like John Force on that burnout there. Dale Earnhardt Jr. gained a spot. Casey Mears up 12 positions into 7th overall. So great pit work on pit road. And boy, Jimmy Johnson just put it in gear and jammed the throttle like he was going for the quarter mile in top fuel. And I tell you think these crews don't want to get their car on and off pit road? Watch the guys here for Jimmy Johnson's Chevrolet. They're going to be so excited to get this pit stop done. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Richmond International Raceway, you haven't missed a thing. A little bit of smoke. We tried to get the restart going, but we had smoke billowing from the 49 car of John Andretti, and they reissued the yellow flag. His car has come to rest. The safety crews are there to help get that car picked up and pulled away. Here's what happened just a moment ago.
That thing let loose right at the start-finish line. Probably about 150 miles an hour at that point. And he holds on to a lot of smoke out of the car.
Watch from the Chevy pace car on camera. Just right after the cars were trying to restart, he goes sailing by with smoke billowing out of the back of that Dodge.
NASCAR told him to get the car down on the bottom of the track, get it out of the way so they don't have a big cleanup on the racetrack. So it's not too bad to clean it up here on the apron. See a bunch of fluid under the car. That would have been all over the track if he hadn't stopped.
Jimmy Johnson is our leader. Of course, Jimmy Johnson won here in the spring. And he would try to sweep both events. And take a look. 7 of 8 drivers to win both Richmond races in the same season have gone on to win the championship. The last guy to do it, back in 1989, our own Rusty Wallace.
You know, when you knew, I remember in 2005 when I got locked into the title here, guys, I went in this race thinking, look, I'm going to run this race just like I would normally run. I'm aware of who's around me, though. I'm aware of what's going on and who I have to race. And I didn't change my driving style much at all. I still drove hard. In fact, when it was all said and done, I moved into second in the points. I passed Jimmy Johnson. And I think that's what I would do if I was these guys. Be aware of what's around you. Stay driving hard.
Still 56 laps to go and still a possibility. Kevin Harvick needs to hang on, and Dale Earnhardt is hoping he'll get a break. Green flag waves at Richmond International Raceway. 50 laps to go, folks, and we're going to stay right here now, from right now all the way to the checkered flag, and see what's going to happen in this chase. And here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got nothing to lose, guys, so you might as well go after it right now.
Well, 50 laps to go. He's got to get it on right now. Get the lid out and get it on, because they have a problem. If he can win this thing, we got another guy that's going to make the top 12, and it could be Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And look at Jeff Gordon. He gives him plenty of room in the corner. He knows Dale Earnhardt Jr. is desperate. He needs to get this spot. He needs to try to get up there and get the win, and Gordon doesn't want him to take him out.
Earnhardt Jr. jumps back in that throttle. 29 cars are on the lead lap, and Kevin Harvick, now if he were to have a problem, he would not finish on the lead lap, and he could slide back. He's still got to finish 33rd or better. Kevin Harvick in the 29 car, currently being shown in 11th position. There's Harvick, top of your screen, coming right at you.
But right now, there's teammates for 2008, 1, 2, 3. Dale Earnhardt Jr. going to be in a Hendrick Motorsports car next year, and you would hope that maybe the 24 car might give him a favor.
These guys are running side by side and still keeping pace with Jimmy Johnson.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., he said it and told his fans this week, I'm not going to quit. None of us are going to give up. We're going to drive this thing as hard as I can drive it with my heart until that checkered flag waves. That's exactly what he's doing, folks. 47 laps to go.
I don't know, if I'm Jeff Gordon, I don't think I want Jeff Gordon Jimmy Jr. in the chase. I'm sorry.
Well, right now, the 8 car, you got to hand it to him. Started 21st into second place, and it looks like the 24's got some debris on the right front splitter. I don't believe it's going to hurt it any. And I don't know what it is, though.
Maybe a bag or something he picked up on the splitter.
Jeff Gordon now looking back underneath the 8 car of Earnhardt Jr., trying to take the inside spot away and trying to take the second position away.
If these guys stay racing side by side like they are, Tony Stewart's going to catch him. And Stewart's going to go on and get around him. And he's been the fastest car the last 15, 20 laps Tony has.
Can you imagine what it'd be like for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his team if they were to miraculously get into this chase, and how much momentum and how much emotion they would have going into the chase?
He drove so hard at Bristol, finishing 5th. He has drove it so hard at California and finished 5th, and he's driving his heart out here tonight, and he's now taking the second spot away. But as you said, Tony Stewart is coming.
Well, if Dale Jr. misses this chase for the championship, it's not because he didn't try, guys. I've never seen a kid drive so hard the last 4 or 5 races in my life.
Kevin Harvick's just a few laps really away from clinching his spot.
Kevin Harvick needed to finish 33rd or better, and we're checking to make sure the cars that have just gone to the garage area, some of the cars have been listed as off the racetrack. Some have now been listed as officially out.
Right now, the 8 car's really got the momentum on the top side of the track. He's really bringing his lap times down. He's got the second quickest lap time so far. Jimmy Johnson's got a little break going on right now. He's got that clean air up there about 1/10 of a second faster than the field at the moment.
29 cars on the lead lap. Kenny Wallace, the last car on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has not won a race in 51 races. It was here in May of 2006, the last time he went to victory lane, just trying to hang on to second spot here and be in position if something would happen, or they could possibly run the 48 car down of Jimmy Johnson here in the final 40 laps.
You got to hand it to this 8 team for how hard they've raced this weekend. They came here in that car in practice. They were 43rd in the happy hour session. Went out here and worked on this car. Now look at them running second place with 39 laps to go. It just shows you how hard this team's racing.
They haven't given up whatsoever. And I'll tell you, another guy that hasn't given up is a 70 car, Johnny Sauter, running 5th right now. He's been really fast throughout the night. He's right behind Stewart. And he's not giving up at all. You would think this kid's in the chase for the championship himself. Good handling car. Not a scratch on it. He's done a fantastic job tonight.
I know Johnny Sauter, he's not going to be satisfied with the top 5. He's going to get all he can get here to catch these guys.
And Andy right behind Sauter. Take a look at David Reagan. He's been holding in there too.
David Reagan trying to get his second top 10, maybe his second top 5 finish. Meanwhile, back up front, Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting a challenge and losing second position to Jeff Gordon.
Gordon's car looked like it was a little bit faster than Nate's car, but he held up behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. for 4 or 5 laps and finally said, look, man, I got to go. He just passed him and went on.
Okay, we're going to see right here if Jeff Gordon's got anything for Jimmy Johnson. Got clear racetrack. Both cars do. We can look at these lap times and see if they've got. Gordon's going. He wants to beat Jimmy Johnson so he can be tied for the lead, the point lead when this race is over.
Yeah, it is 10 bonus points per victory. Right now, Jimmy Johnson has 5 wins. Jeff Gordon has 4, so it would be 50 for Jimmy Johnson, 40 for Jeff Gordon, and 30 for Tony Stewart. So this win is very critical for these guys running up front.
Junior's still not giving up. He's just working Jeff Gordon pretty hard here.
Well, right now, Kevin Harvick picking up more and more positions, but the brake rotors are still on fire in that car. And that still makes me real nervous, guys. For him.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. back underneath the 24 car. Teammates in 2008. Earnhardt Jr. headed to Hendrick Motorsports. How strong will that team be with Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Casey Mears? And the rich just get richer. Hendrick has an awfully, by the way, Hendrick Motorsports re-signed this week with General Motors with Chevrolet to continue their relationship where they've had so much success over the last 23 years. Right side of your screen, that's you saw Harvick in the 11 car battling side by side. Earnhardt Jr. now trying to take the second spot away, just inside of the 24 car. More on Earnhardt, here's Jamie.
Oh, and you see him get a little bit loose. What are you talking about next year with Dale Earnhardt Jr.? They announced this week, longtime crew chief and cousin Tony Eury Jr. will be going to Hendrick Motorsports with Dale. I talked to him today, and he said he sees it as an honor. He said Hendrick Motorsports is the top of the chain when it comes to NASCAR and teams. He thinks it's an honor. He's looking forward to staying with Dale, but he said right now all they want to do is get a win to thank this team at DEI for sticking by them as long as they have. And the last win, guys, by the way, came here 2 years ago.
This is getting ready to be a 3-way battle with Tony Stewart coming to the picture.
You see Dale Jr. starting to smoke the rear tires up off the corner, getting real loose. But he's jammed down underneath the 24 car. Just about the time Jeff Gordon gets up front, Jr. says, hey, I want more of this. Let me get back up to the front and patch you back.
Much of this crowd of 112,000 fans have been on their feet for the last 40 laps. They're standing, watching, cheering, waiting. Some are saying we want our man Kevin Harvick to be able to make it. Big Kevin Harvick fans up here in Virginia. A lot of them pulling for that Budweiser number 8 for Dale Earnhardt Jr. 30 laps to go. Here is Tony Stewart now on the inside. You guys can battle all you want. I got to get my eyes set on that 48 car and run down Jimmy Johnson for the victory.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is thinking, hey, guys, if I'm not going to make it in the chase, I'm going to go out in style. I'm going to be wide open. I'm going to give these fans a show, and he's done that all night long.
This is great racing by some real pros.
Oh, man, I tell you, this is so much fun. When I was driving the car, I love positions like that. So when I could run side by side, and I had 2 of the best race car drivers I'm racing, I always wanted to race the best. And you folks, you're looking at 3 of the best race car drivers in the world right now, running bumper to bumper.
Among these 3 drivers, they have got 8 victories at Richmond International Raceway. Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Stewart lead the active drivers with 3 wins each. Jeff Gordon, a 2-time winner here. Watch these guys inside of each other. This is great racing. No wonder these fans are on their feet.
Oh, they're going crazy in the stands right now, but it looks like Stewart cleared them just then.
7 laps left as the laps click away. Now, some of the cars that are in the garage area will be considered out. So with 20 laps to go, if nothing happens to Kevin Harvick and he stays where he is, he will clinch a spot in the chase. Dale Earnhardt Jr. hoping for the Hail Mary, hoping for the walk-off homer here with just 5 laps to go to when Harvick would clinch, doing everything he can do. And here's the 44 car. Dale Jarrett, he's had some contact with the wall and damaged his Toyota.
Still green.
For you Dale Earnhardt Jr. fans, there's still 5 laps left for something to go wrong with the 29 car, Kevin Harvick.
How many times in sport, how many times in sports have we seen the buzzer beaters, the Hail Marys? Something happens in the final minutes when you've got to pull it out. Someone walks to the plate and just nails one over the left center field wall. Harvick trying to hold on for 4 more laps to put himself in the NASCAR playoff chase to the Nextel Cup.
Junior's job just driving his guts out right here.
And if this wasn't the chase for the championship race to get you into the chase, you could say Dale Earnhardt Jr., what a fantastic run, and Dale would have got out of the car and said, hey man, what a fun race it was tonight. But he wants to get in the title.
At lap 20, it will be sealed for Kevin Harvick.
And Kevin Harvick knows right now he's being communicated to from his crew. Guys, just, Kevin, in 2 more laps, you got it, buddy. And you can tell the intenseness. Look at his eyes and look how he's driving that car. So smooth and very focused.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. hoping against hope. He came here and said he promised his fans and his sponsor he would do everything in his power. He would not quit. He would not give up until the checkered flag waved, and he has driven from 21st starting spot all the way to run 2nd and 3rd among the leaders. But now this time Kevin Harvick will come down out of turn 4, and as Harvick crosses the start-finish line right there, he's officially locked in to the chase for the Nextel Cup. Dale Earnhardt Jr. said very philosophically this weekend, if we do not make the chase, my job is to get there and win races down the stretch, much like what Tony Stewart did a year ago when he didn't make the chase here in this race at Richmond.
Well, right now he's doing it. He knows he's out of the title now. He's probably had that communicated by now, I would say. And he just got to get around Tony Stewart. Tony can't shake him, and Junior can't shake Stewart. And they just want to win this race not now. Because if a caution comes out, they're back in the hunt with Jimmy Johnson leading this race.
He sure kept his word to his fans and his sponsors. He has given it everything he's got. He's still doing it right now with 18 laps to go.
Well, Elvis would be proud of him, that's for sure.
Look at David Reagan in the 6 car. Reagan trying to get his 2nd top 5 finish of the year. He's currently running in 5th position, and he's battling Jeff Gordon for 4th position.
This has got to be one of the best races of the year for David Reagan because this is one of the toughest tracks to get around. One of the toughest tracks in all of NASCAR to run fast at all throughout the night. He's been doing it.
This is the best way you can measure yourself as a driver. Racing at Richmond against Jeff Gordon, probably one of the best ever.
A rookie against a 4-time NASCAR Nextel Cup champion, and they are just a foot apart for 4th position here with 16 laps to go.
Jeff's not giving him anything either. He's going to have to earn this spot.
David Reagan taking over the 6-car ride that Mark Martin drove for 19 years for Roush Fenway Racing. Trying to prove that Jack Roush was right when he picked him to go in the car, and he said he's got so much potential. He began the year with a 5th place finish in the Daytona 500. Nearly just missed the top 10 at California last week, and now he's running in 4th position.
Right now, Jimmy Johnson leading this race, and Tony Stewart in the 2nd position, outrunning him by just a little bit, but he's catching him every single lap, Tony is.
Even with these 2 guys racing side by side, they're still able to catch Jimmy Johnson just a little bit.
It is just amazing how fast Stewart and Dale Earnhardt Jr. are running while they're racing. They're running almost a 1/2 of a tenth of a second faster than Jimmy Johnson. running side by side. Take a look at the lap times.
These are the intervals behind the leader, Tony Stewart, cutting it down, and right there with him is Dale Earnhardt Jr. It'll be a dozen laps to go next time by. 26th race of 36, the final race in the race to the chase, and what an effort these guys have put here tonight. Kevin Harvick, an incredible effort to be able to get that car in the chase. Kurt Busch in the chase. Jimmy Johnson trying to get back-to-back victories here at California and to sweep both races for the year at Richmond.
And now Jimmy Johnson's going to have to deal with some lap traffic. He's got some pretty heavy lap traffic ahead of him.
The top 12 for the chase for the championship are all set. Now it's just go for the victory. Get the best finish. Do the best job you can for your sponsors, for your owners, for yourself. And that's one thing that David Reagan's doing right now, running fourth. This kid finishes fourth, he's going to leave feeling pretty proud of himself.
He's catching these two guys in front of him. He might get more than that.
And he's just wanting these guys to start racing side by side. The 20 car of Tony Stewart, an 8-car junior, because when they run side by side, generally they run slower. Although they hadn't slowed these two down much.
Last lap, David Reagan was the fastest car on the racetrack.
And this is what Reagan wants to see right now. These guys are starting to race each other again, and Stewart clears the 8-car. But while all this is going on, Jimmy Johnson is working the traffic real well, and he's not having much of a problem.
Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr. There is Jimmy Johnson working on the bottom side of Paul Menard. As you said, Rusty, in heavy traffic here. Less than 10 laps to go. Here comes David Reagan. He slides right up behind Dale Earnhardt Jr.
David Reagan is driving the race of his career right here.
Reagan's definitely got a better car than the two guys in front. Look at that. Pick the throttle up underneath of him. Hold on. Watch for the arrow loose. This is where he can't make a mistake getting down at the corner.
How about a 21-year-old rookie driver running on the inside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. and chasing the two-time Cup champion Tony Stewart here in the final laps at Richmond?
Lap traffic, that's not what David wanted to see. He needs to try to make that pass, getting into the center of the corner. He's getting blocked right there between the lap car of Dave Blaney right now, but now he clears him.
Oh, Junior just blowing an engine.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. gave it his all, and now smoke billowing from the back of the 8-car.
Another DEI engine failure.
With just 6 laps to go, and how appropriate is that, given the fact that he's had 5 DNFs this year, and 4 of them have been engine-related issues.
Well, these guys have done all they can do.
And they have done, but this is the SB2 engine, the engine they thought was one of the most durable engines. This is not the R07 Chevrolet engine. And he's even failed the old engine now.
Battle for second place now heating up. Then the junior is pulled away. The 20 is Stewart. The 6 of David Reagan.
We're still caution-free. Earnhardt got the car off the track. No oil on the course.
Reagan's got a better car than Tony. I don't know if he's going to be able to work by him or not.
Reagan's got the car. Tony's got the experience. Which would you rather have?
I'd rather have both. I'm greedy, man. I want everything, you know. Especially when you're a driver, you want the best engine, the best car. And they've gave David Reagan that tonight. Tony Stewart's probably looking in his mirror going, who's that? Who is it again?
Is he on the lead lap?
Yeah. Has he got 4 new tires? Who is this guy?
Give a call to Jimmy Finnig, his crew chief, and the great crew there for the Roush Fenway team for David Reagan.
3 laps to go. And when these guys go to Loud, New Hampshire next weekend, they run almost the same setup, the same tire pressures, the same tire. It's going to be it's a big learning procedure for these folks tonight, for next week.
Jimmy Johnson's got his crew chief back up on the box, and it's just that extra little push, I think, that's put this team up front and where they can win races. They were very competitive when Chad was gone, but boy, this is just, these last couple of weeks has showed that extra little bit that they've got.
Jimmy Johnson won 4 times in the first 10 races of the year. Then after the win at Richmond, he didn't win again until last weekend at California. Chad Knaus, right side of your screen, he led that driver and that entire team to the 2006 NASCAR Nextel Cup Championship. Jimmy Johnson trying to pick up win number 6 in 2007. It would be Jimmy Johnson's 29th career win, and he will come down and take the checkered flag as Jimmy Johnson sweeps both races and wins at Richmond.
Yeah, boys, you guys are awesome.
Johnny Sauter gets a top 5 finish.
Great. Good job. Big crew, way to bounce back, gentlemen. Thank you.
Third place for David Reagan, a fifth place for Johnny Sauter. Like you said, Andy, these two kids, not kids, these men, did a great job tonight.
Let's go down to Mike Massaro.
And guys, certainly nobody can question Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s efforts tonight, but it's not to be. What are your thoughts?
Just disappointing. We lost another motor tonight, and seems like that's just been the theme of this season for us. We struggle with the new fuel. We had great power. We just can't keep them together when we put them in my car for some reason.
A year ago, another big name, Tony Stewart, was left out of the chase, but he turned it into a positive. Won 3 races. Do you feel like this team's capable of doing something like that here in 2007?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I run good every week. We just ain't finishing races. You know, we're running the top 5 every week. You know, we in the chase. We deserve to be in the chase, and you know, wish we were from our fans. But we'll give them something to cheer about. We race hard. We don't quit. We love racing. That's what we do. So we'll be all right. Just disappointing, man. These dang motors.
Well, you can see that there's still celebration, believe it or not, between him and his crew chief, Tony Uri Jr. right now. They're still able to find some positives here. You're hugging Tony Uri Jr. What can you take from this that might make you stronger? You talked all about integrity earlier this week. How will this make you guys a better organization, you and Tony Uri Jr., as you move to Hendrick?
Well, Tony Jr.'s just really upset. You know, they work hard. Us drivers, we got it made. Those crewmen are the guys that put in all the time and all the effort, and they work real hard. And just to be running so good, to make the car better all night, and to get up in the top 5, and to be sitting there racing Tony like that, that was really, really fun. He's probably mad because I bumped into him a couple times, but, you know, and just to blow up at the end, you know, it's real, real hard on them guys personally because they put so much into it. You know, I get in there and drive the heck out of it, and I do it for myself and for my cousin, and we'll keep doing that, you know. And I've had a great group of guys this year. We're going to keep racing the rest of the season. We got more work to do. We got a season to finish. And congratulations to whoever won this race and all the guys that made the chase.
Well, guys, back in August, Dale Earnhardt Jr. said if he didn't make the chase, he'd be the most surprised person in the garage. But looking around here, there are a lot of people still in disbelief.
Fatigue, frustration for Earnhardt Jr. He just didn't get in. He tried, couldn't get in, and it just wasn't to be. Our Chevy winning moment. Jimmy Johnson, winner of the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. A great effort by Jimmy Johnson, who led 4 times for 104 laps. His 6th victory of 2007. His 29th career win, and Jimmy Johnson will have the top seed in the chase. And speaking of great Chevys, give a call to Kevin Harvick and the entire Richard Childress crew for doing what they had to do to get that car in the top 12 and the chase. Let's go down to Davis, caught up with Jeff Gordon.
Hey guys, we're with Jeff Gordon right now, talking with Steve Letarte, breaking down the final race to the chase. And he was in before the race started. A torrid battle out there to try to get this victory here at Richmond.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're fighting hard. You know, wanted those 10 bonus points, and I'm happy for Jimmy, but I hate that he got those 10 on us. These last 2 tracks that we've run are really good tracks for him, and they capitalized on it. So congratulations to those guys. Good solid run for us. We got a little bit tight. We tried to make some adjustments there, and I thought we were going to be better. I got fighting with Junior. It was a good battle, a lot of fun, but it just wore my tires out. I got so loose, especially when he was pushing me, and then I just lost the drive off in the handle, and so had to settle for what, 4th, I guess. So you know, happy to have Brett on board on Chevrolet this weekend. We had a lot of fun with them. Hopefully, help some people stop smoking.
You will be 2nd seeded in the chase, going for yet another championship in Nextel Cup. Alan.
And Jimmy Johnson getting cooled off and getting ready to climb from the car and celebrate another win in 2007. And a hug for the car owner, Rick Hendrick, and members of the team. Jimmy went from May here to September with no wins. Now you've got 2 in a row. What's turned things around for this team getting ready to go race for a championship?
I don't really have that answer, and it goes that way each summer for us. We end up a little slow through the summer, but come on strong. We didn't have the best car tonight until the end. The car was really, really tight on corner entry, and finally at the end of the night, we made enough changes and got that car right, and it was pretty awesome at the end.
The last several laps, you're watching behind you, I assume, what's going on. How aware of you or what was going on behind you, and how is that helping you?
I could hear that they were racing side by side behind me. I was just trying to hit my marks and do my myself. I was in practice. Try not to let it get to my head and you know what was going to happen. And I was also trying to save a little bit. So on the restarts, 24 and 20 were pretty strong. But I can't thank Hendrick Motorsports enough for all their hard work. Engine shop, bodies, cars, everything across the board in the sport from Lowe's and all their employee owners. We're off to a good start.
Congratulations, and we'll see you next week. Jimmy Johnson with a great deal of momentum to go race for a championship. Let's go to Jamie.
And I'm now with Tony Stewart. Heading way to the front, led sometimes, and you had a three-way battle there at the end. Tony, look that happy. What happened?
We just didn't end up where we needed to be. Proud of these guys. They did a great job. Went and did a test on Tuesday to come here, and the results ended up one shy of where we wanted, but we had a good night. I mean, we just kept sneaking up on it all night, and kept making changes and kept getting it better. And but we felt we let one get away from us tonight.
Reset now, looking to the chase. How do you feel about your guys' COT program and your program going forward?
Pretty happy with it. I mean, I think we've been really good on both. So excited. I mean, I'm really proud of how this team rebounded from all of us missing the chase last year to this year. Ending the 26-week stretch second point. So it shows that this team never gives up, and all the Home Depot associates that support us.
That's got to do.
Harvick now, who drove hard tonight, no question, but near the end picked it up even more, even though it was getting closer to being locked.
Yeah, I saw a lot of. I mean, there's obviously a lot of cars that wrecked tonight, and a lot of things that happened, and I knew that it was pretty close, and saw the 8 up there running third, and I knew he didn't lead the most laps. So in my head, I kind of knew where we were, and figured we could kind of step it up a notch. Just kind of burned my car up racing the 11 there, and we were better at the first half of the run, and then we just kind of maintain and fall off just a touch at the end of the run. But just want to thank all my guys on this show, Pennzoil Chevrolet. Had a lot of things happen tonight, and
close calls.
Yeah, a lot of close calls, and we kept racing and had a good car. So it's kind of like the rest of the year. So it's hard to complain about our year. We won the Daytona 500 and the All-Star race, but everything in between has we've just had a lot of things go wrong. So hopefully we've got all that out of the way. Solid top 10 run tonight, and overcame a lot of things. So it's nice to start back at ground zero with everybody, only be a few points behind.
That's right, only 50 points behind as he starts his quest for the championship, guys.
Kevin Harvick finished 7th. We'll visit with Martin Truex and some of the other drivers who made it in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup when we come back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. What a night for Jimmy Johnson. The 2007 chase for the Nextel Cup field is set. Here are the 12 drivers that will battle each other down the stretch for the final 10 races of the season to become the 2007 NASCAR Nextel Cup champion. Let's get on to Mike Massaro.
And Doc, while one prominent Dale Earnhardt Incorporated driver is out, another is in, and that's Martin Truex Jr. You have one victory this season going into the chase. How do you feel like you guys are set up?
Well, I feel pretty good. I was a little disappointed in the way we ran tonight. We kind of struggled all weekend, but this is a whole different deal with this car than we've been running. So I'm looking forward to it. The next 2 races, 2 of my favorite tracks, ones we ran very well at here this year, and one of them we got a first win at. So looking forward to them for sure. Real proud of all these guys on this Bash Pro Chevrolet team. Real proud to get them in the chase, and just looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of tracks that we really enjoy and run good at throughout the chase. So hopefully we'll, keep the luck, all the bad luck from striking, and have 10 good races, and we'll see what happens.
And certainly anybody can win the chase, but Martin Truex Jr. has some ground to make up. 50 points back of the #1 seed, Jimmy Johnson. Alan.
And with Kurt Busch, former champion, who is in. Did you have a moment's concern tonight when you were involved in that little scrape?
Yeah, we were slowing down. The 17 got into my teammate Newman, and smoke everywhere, and the best thing to do is just shut her down and hope and pray you don't get hit too hard and end up getting spun and collected. So luckily Montoya hit us square in the rear end and it made us a little loose after that, just taking the crush panels out of the back end, and we're just hanging on, steady Eddie in the deal, and about 50 to go, we got confirmation we were in, locked in, and made an adjustment to really loosen it up and just kind of let her rip. Got up to about 9th with the Miller Lite Dodge, so we're happy. Big picture, that was great. We've got a couple wins for bonus points, and now you go into the chase. The big thing is consistency, and we've been doing that since the 1st of July, so I hope we can keep that pace going. Pat Tryson's meant the world to me, and I'm happy to do it for Roger Penske and all his team.
Thanks, Kurt. We'll see you in New Hampshire next week. Jamie?
Well, Carl Edwards had his second DNF, so we had to watch the race from the sidelines most of the time, Carl. But let's talk about the chase for a second. You made it your rookie year in 2005. Last year you missed it. How much did that motivate you and make you hungry to come back here and make it this year?
Well, I think 2006 did a lot for me as a driver, as a person, to realize how, how fickle this sport is, and, how easy it is to have an off year. So I definitely have been enjoying this season. We had such a great car tonight. It really, it makes me really look forward to the chase, running these cars of tomorrow in the chase. And I hope that our bad luck, I hope this was the last of it, because the next 10 races are obviously so important, and we've been running so well. If we can just keep doing what we're doing, it's going to be great.
All right, Carl Edwards seated 4th for the chase. Let's go over to Dave.
And Jeff Burton, our in-race reporter, and his teammate Clinton Boyer with us now. Jeff, you talked about experimenting with things, some of which you thought might pay dividends. What's the confidence level going into the chase?
After tonight, not very high. We stunk it up tonight, but we were trying. We were a little bit different than we normally are, and we did some things tonight that I think will make us better. And we, sometimes you learn by things not working out, but at the end of the day, we were lucky enough to be able to experiment a little bit, and our experiment gone bad. But proud of our effort. Have all 3 teams in the chase is a really cool thing, and we'll all fight hard and see what we can make happen here in the next 10 weeks.
All right, that's Jeff Burton. And Clint, you spun tonight while trying to run fast. How are you feeling going into the chase?
Pretty good. I mean, really proud of everybody at RCR, just like Jeff said, and everybody on the Jack Daniels Chevrolet deal, and everybody's just worked so hard, and everybody's families and everything else put a lot of effort into this. So really proud to be here, but I promised the guys I was going to go for it and went a little too hard.
Well, you'd like to have a win going into the chase, right?
Yeah, and that's what we were trying to do. I mean, I was, obviously, passing for the lead, but just got out from underneath of me.
All right, Clint Boyer is in the chase. Let's go to Mike Massaro.
And one of the only few guys who've made the chase all 4 years is Matt Kenseth. And with that experience, does that give you any advantage at all going into this next chase? Can you take anything from your previous 3 years that might help you here?
You'd like to hope so, but not really. I mean, the biggest thing that you need to take in the chase is a fast race car, one faster than everybody else's. So I feel like we're getting out. We're getting a little bit better. I think there's, 3 or 4 guys that are probably the favorites that are a little bit, one step above, I think the rest of us. But I feel like, we can run with the rest of them guys, and I think we got a great team. I think we got a championship caliber team, and if we can go into the chase and not make mistakes and get our cars to run a little bit better, maybe we can be there then.
Alan, I spoke with Robbie Reiser before tonight. He said he feels like they're flying under the radar, but he says that's okay. He likes that.
Yeah, nobody's flying under the radar anymore with this chase field now set. Denny Hamlin finished 6th tonight. Our count, you're seated 6th for the championship, 50 points behind the leader going in. Thoughts on tonight and the title?
Well, tonight was, it was a good night for us. Just messed up there grabbing the water bottle on pit road and hit the kill switch and just didn't know it until the entire field went by. So it was still a solid night for us. We were able to battle back, and that's what really counts. So these are the nights we're going to have when it comes to the chase. Is just make the best of a day that kind of goes sour. So if we can keep up our top 5, top 10 finishes through the next 10 races, should be in good shape. We just got to capitalize if somebody else makes a mistake.
Denny, thanks. Good luck next week. Jamie?
And Kyle Busch, of course, in the chase, now finished 8th tonight. One of the youngest drivers in the chase for the second time. It's all about that age thing, but, you look kind of disappointed tonight. What else could you get out of tonight? I mean, looking forward, you're in.
Yeah, we're in, but, we didn't run very well tonight. We didn't run like we were in the chase, so, just a bad night for us for some reason. We never finished worse than 5th here, and tonight we were 20th, so just a bad day overall, but, I guess there's next week to look forward to.
Kyle Busch seated 8th, guys.
The
field is set for the 2007 NASCAR Chase of the Nextel Cup. 5 former NASCAR Nextel Cup champions, 3 drivers in their sophomore seasons. Those are the 12 that'll get it done as the chase begins next Sunday on ABC, 1 o'clock Eastern time at the Magic Mile. Jimmy Johnson picking up his 6th win of 2007. Coming up next, late local news over most of these ABC stations. Once again, congratulations to Jimmy Johnson. He's the winner tonight. Next week, the chase officially begins at New Hampshire, 1 o'clock Eastern time from New Hampshire International Raceway, the chase for the Nextel Cup. Once again, Jimmy Johnson the winner. He's the top seed in the chase. All happens next week at New Hampshire. So long, everyone, from Richmond International Raceway.